Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the July meeting of the Town of Poughkeepsie Zoning Board of Appeals. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For those that are new to the meetings of the ZBA, our meetings are divided into two halves. During the first half, we conduct public hearings on each of the applications that are before us. We'll do this in the order in which they're listed on the agenda. If you'd like a copy of the agenda, they're available in the tray that's right there on our counsel's desk. During the public hearing, we'll ask each of the applicants to come forward to be sworn in and to give us a very brief summary of what their application is about. At that point, each of the board members will have an opportunity to ask questions. When the board members have completed their questions, the floor will then be open to anyone from the public that wishes to address the board on that application and that application only. When we've heard from all of the interested parties, we will close the public hearing and move on to the next item. When we've all of the public hearings, will then return to the top of the agenda for the deliberation phase. During this portion of the meeting, there's no further input from the public or the applicant. You're free, of course, to stay and listen to the deliberations. After we've discussed this, we will have a formal vote on whether or not that particular application is approved. If you choose not to stay, and sometimes the hour gets long, you can call the zoning department in the morning to get the results. For tonight's meeting, Anthony Cocello could not be here, and Paul Leahy, who's our first alternate, was also unable to attend. So Phyllis Capone will be a regular voting member. So we will have a full slate of 7 members for tonight's meeting. The first item on the agenda, Rutberg Breslau Personal Injury Law, 3344 North Road. Is there anyone?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
My name is Jennifer Langley.
Well, you'll need to speak into the
Sorry.
microphone. I should have mentioned that because we have to record everything.
How's that?
That sounds good.
It's nice to meet you. My name is Jennifer Langley. I'll be representing Rutberg Breslau this evening.
Ms. Langley,
Yes.
you have to be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Thank you.
Yes.
We actually have already submitted our application with materials associated. I know Mr. Rutberg was available at the last meeting, and we feel that he's completed all discussion on this. We're just wondering, where we stand at this point.
Okay. In terms of the application, as you said, you've submitted a fair amount of detail. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we have traditionally done as part of the deliberation on wall signs is to ask applicants to submit photo renderings that would show what kind of a sign would conform to the strict code.
Okay.
What you want, and something in between.
Okay.
And this is largely to get a sense of how the sign relates to the building. A big sign on a small building
Right. Versus a
is
bigger on a big.
overkill. A small sign on a big building looks silly.
Certainly.
So I think that, and I don't know, other board members may
I agree.
have other questions, but I think that is
So-
kind of our normal procedure.
Okay. So is that something you're looking for now at this point, in addition to the other materials that have already been submitted? Or since the sign is there?
Yes.
You certainly can see what it is now, so you're looking for the other two, perhaps the one rendering of the sign as compliance with,
Right, which
with
in
the
this case,
ordinance.
I believe would be a sign of 50 square feet.
okay,
And then I believe the application is for a sign of a little over 107 square
exactly,
feet.
yes.
So someplace in between.
So a rendering that fits,
Yeah.
something in between, and then, of course, you know what we've got. So I'm sure we can find those and get those materials to you. How would we go about submitting them to you? Just,
Once you've generated them, just be in touch with Sandy.
Ms. Lane? All right,
And she'll see to it that we get it for the next meeting.
okay, wonderful. And we will be informed of the next meeting? Is it a normal?
Yeah, I believe it's August 11th. Is that you? Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
Right.
We'll get that for you, and we'll have someone here representing us at that meeting as well.
Okay, before you go, let's just, Christine, do you have any questions?
Nope, no questions.
Betty?
I think Mr. Grace has some.
Under the bus.
Well, you were
Pass it
next,
on.
and I was gonna let you go first.
Mr. Grace?
No, I agree with you. We need the renderings. I do have a question, though.
Certainly.
It looks like back in 2008, there was a 50 square foot sign permit issued.
Yes, I
This
believe
one's a
so.
little bit larger, so at some point in life, the signs got changed. Could you tell us when?
Yes, at one point, basically, it's when the name change of the firm took place. We had a Rutberg and Associates, so it was the one name. The firm merged with another firm, switched to Rutberg Basso. So the new sign was put in for that purpose with the new logo. And the firm's name has now changed yet again, Rutberg Breslow. And those are the reasons for the changes in the signage.
Was the initial sign given just for Rutberg? Was he there by himself initially, maybe?
It was Rutberg and Associates at the time. I don't have a rendering I believe, of that sign or a photo of that sign, but we can certainly get that for you.
Okay.
I think there is one
Is
somewhere
there
in this
one? Yeah,
packet.
I'm pulling out the packet at this point to look at it. You might have it
Yeah,
already.
I do remember seeing a sign that was just Rutberg.
Mm-hmm.
Right, back in, the permit was 7015, so I don't know when that was issued.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I believe you're correct, sir, but I don't have it in this packet, but we can certainly get that for you, along with the other items.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
okay. Larry? Phyllis?
No, I don't think, not this evening, because they're gonna have to come back and present again,
Right.
correct?
But
Those other
I think
items.
if there's some specific pieces of information,
Yeah, if there's something you need, we can certainly get it.
Well, it was more a matter of, did we as a board get clarification as when the two other people whose names are also on the side of that building, when their variances were approved and for what sizes, did we?
okay, no, yeah, I mean, you raise an important question, and I am not altogether clear exactly what the proper procedure here is, and so maybe, let me just try to articulate it, and Brian from the Zoning and Planning Office and our council can perhaps clarify. I did a rough calculation. I took one of the photo images of the facade of the building, and by using some scaling, made some calculations as to the size of the three signs that are there now. I believe Prime Management and, what is it, Kenny? There's a law.
Yes, Dennis Kenny Law Firm.
Kenny Law Firm, and then Rutberg Breslau. And according to my calculations, which are totally amateur, not official at all. All three of those signs are in violation of the ordinance. On the other hand, and I'll be candid, given the size of the building, given the size of the Mike Artiga sign that's
Right.
next door, none of them strikes me as wildly out of proportion. Nonetheless, it does appear that we've got some bunch of signs there for which there has never been issued a variance.
Yes, that's the way I
And-
understand it, the other signs.
There's a kind of a fairness issue here. What do I do, counsel?
Well, it's a couple.
This is why you get paid for this meeting a lot more than I do.
So the once in a while you ask me to talk. I would say that there's kind of two pieces to that. One is, you can't. What you often look at, particularly with sign variances in this town, is other variances have been granted comparatively. So one is, you can request a clarification from staff between this meeting and the next meeting, a written clarification as to whether those signs permitted. They could have been permitted correctly and put up at that size, or they could have been not permitted and put up. So you could request some clarification. And all that does is inform you as to the legality of those signs. Because if they're legal, right, let's say, you all have been here long enough, you pretty much know you didn't grant a variance, I'm guessing. But let's say maybe there was a variance and we just don't remember, then it goes to being consistent and starting to study this.
Right.
So, that's probably the easiest thing to do, is just request to know. And then, it may be that those other signs are in violation and in process of being prosecuted or not. I'm not quite sure how this particular one ended up here versus the other ones.
Is that
So one outcome of this would be, we decide the Rutberg-Breslow case on its merits, and we may request the others
Yeah, essentially.
come in for a variance.
Well, that's not up to you. That's up to the zoning administrator.
Yeah.
But you certainly can check the status. The reason to check the status is to check what you're measuring the Rutberg-Breslow sign against. So in other words, if it's already been granted a variance, or if those other ones were grandfathered under some old law, that so if you know the status of those, that gives you your ability to be consistent with prior decisions of your own, as well as the town code. Because whenever, I'm thinking in Arlington Town Center, how we always look at, and South Hills Mall, how you always look at, this is what we've done in this particular area in the
Right.
past. So
Similar
and then if you basically find out, well, they're illegal, well, that's an issue for the zoning administrator, and you're just looking at Rutberg-Breslow, and you're not necessarily measuring against those other two signs because those two signs aren't legal. You're just making a decision on the Rutberg-Breslow sign, and then ultimately setting a precedent for these other signs if they ever come up.
Okay.
As
that
it-
makes sense.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, we'll look those up. And
Okay, I was
Okay.
just going to say, as an applicant, can I request that information be found out for the next meeting? Because that could help us, get some information, if only.
have it for you in a few days.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I think let's just clarify the situation. And
Yes.
and-
Yeah, that would
and
be
then
good to get all the
In the meantime, you're
information.
going to be generating
We'll get
some more
that
things for us to
information
look
for
at.
you as well.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay, good. Carmen?
No question.
Okay. Anyone in the audience wish to address this? Seeing none. If there are no further questions, then I think I've moved that we adjourn item number 1 to our August 11th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Hey, thank you very much.
See you next month. Okay, that reminds me that I forgot to take care of a couple of pieces of business before we got started. I will do that now. On our agenda, there are 2 items. Number 12, U-Haul, 175, 2185 South Road, and item number 13, Benoni Theodore at 3 Springside Avenue. In both of these cases, these are unlisted actions. Wait, on the agenda, it says
Type 2 action.
13 is type 2, but
No, that's an unlisted.
That is incorrect.
13.
It's an unlisted action because in both cases, the planning board is the, but in both, in 12 and 13. I just got an email today saying that both of these, for both of these, the planning board was the lead agency, and they have not yet done the environmental review. So we are.
12 is coordinated. Planning board is lead agency on 12, I know that definitely.
Yeah, so it's not a uncoordinated, it's a coordinated review.
Right.
Right.
I know that on 12 at least, I don't know about 13.
I checked on 13, and if you look at the planning board agenda, they have determined, and actually at the last meeting, we voted to allow the planning board to be the lead agent.
Yeah, so then that's a coordinated.
Right. So, and they don't meet, I believe, until next week.
This week,
This Thursday.
this
This-
Thursday. It
this
happens, this month it happens the same
Okay,
week.
this Thursday. So, until they meet and come to a negative declaration, we are unable to take any action. So,
Well, no, you're just not allowed to vote. You could still have your hearing if you want to.
well, I don't think there's any point in having a hearing.
There might be people
Prior-
here that wanted.
Well, it's up to the, how does the board feel about this? Do you want to go ahead and have a public hearing?
See, I don't think we should.
People came out regarding that item on the agenda. I'm okay to listen to it. You know, to open a public hearing. Otherwise, they have to come back. Right?
Right,
They have to come back anyway.
right, they would come back anyway,
Yeah.
since we can't act.
Is the applicant here? For those, do they know?
One in the back on the left.
They've called.
Okay,
Coming.
okay. Would you like to go forward with your presentation, or would you rather wait until the next meeting?
I'd be happy to explain any questions you might have. We are scheduled to appear on Thursday at 6:30 in front of the planning board.
Okay,
And I guess, I appreciate your input on it. I don't know what would be best.
okay, and your, which item?
This is U-Haul.
U-Haul.
Dennis?
I mean, there's no reason you can't hear it. You just you can't make a decision. So there's no reason, I mean, under seeker, the only thing you can't do is vote on the application. So you can do everything and then they don't have to come back. And if you kind of know what you want to do,
Okay,
come back next month now. And then if there's not a neg deck and there's a full environmental impact statement, you won't be voting for 9 months anyway. And but I
okay.
doubt either one of those
Is
comes to that.
there anybody here with an interest in item number 13, the 3 Springside Avenue?
The applicant is here, we are prepared to give a presentation. We are also on the agenda on Thursday for the planning board to continue the seeker review. So we understood that you would not be able to take any action tonight, so we're here to bring it up to speed.
Okay, well, okay, as long as you understand that, we'll listen, we'll ask questions, but we just can't vote.
Okay.
Okay, fine. All right, in that case, we'll go forward with the agenda as it's printed. Okay. Item number 2, 5150 Corporation at 5153 Fairview Avenue. This was an item that was adjourned from the last meeting. Is there anyone here representing? If not,
Item number 3.
have you heard anything from the applicant?
Not at all.
I have not, okay. All right, in that case, I would ask,
Be here at the last meeting,
I would move that item number 2 be adjourned to our August meeting.
Second.
And in the meantime,
We've heard longer.
are all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Kuzel? In the meantime, perhaps you could Sandy, would you just give a call and find out? It could be that they have dropped the application,
That's what I think.
but,
And that's the feeling I had at the last meeting.
but we should find out. And I think in the meantime, this gives them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, item number 3 is Cinema 8, 1895 South Road. Good evening. If you just have a seat, state your name into the microphone and be sworn
Lee
in.
Smith from DCI Signs and Awnings.
Mr. Smith, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
I understand.
Okay, so briefly.
Okay, I'm
What-
representing Cinema Holdings, who has a movie theater, Cinema 8, on, I think it's South Road at the mall. They are requesting to put a sign at the entrance to the Cinema 8. That's the only entrance that they have, and I was told, because that's a private road, considered a private road, no signage allowed, so that's why I'm here, to ask that they be allowed to put a sign.
Okay, and in the application, you've shown us what this will look like.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Christine, any questions?
No questions,
Betty?
The only question I had was, whoever filled out the application only filled out half. Was that you, sir?
It might be.
Oh, I see what you
Only
mean.
filled
yeah.
out half.
Okay.
So, well, I have the three pages.
Under B, you put 1 and 2, you just put NA. Number 3, there's
Okay.
nothing.
They did.
Number 4, there was,
Well, actually, somebody has typed in none.
yeah.
Well, I think at that time, they weren't aware that it was a variance, or this is the variance application?
Correct.
Then they did not fill it out correctly. I did not. I filled out the sign permit application.
Do we have a short form seeker, short form?
I was just going to say that
F?
sometime in the next few minutes,
You have one?
Sandy will give you a form, the short form environmental impact assessment that we have to have in order to proceed. But if you just take a few minutes and fill that out and then leave it with us, be fine.
Sure.
And the counties or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Art, any questions?
I'm trying to find out, does it say on here how big this is?
Yeah, page 2.
Yeah, it's
27 square feet.
Okay. And that's the only entrance, you can't get in from the mall?
That's the only
That's
entrance to
solar.
the movie theater, correct?
Okay, no other questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank
It
you.
was clear they need a sign, we had trouble finding.
I was going to be my only comment.
It was
I had
clear
to,
they need a sign.
to drive around a little bit to
Yeah.
find
It's
it
a little
out.
difficult to find the movie theater unless you know where it is.
This will help a lot in terms of getting people there. Larry? Phyllis?
No question.
Carmen?
No questions.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application from Cinema 8 at the South Hills Mall? Hearing none. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
No moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. I guess I forgot to add, I'm forgetting a lot of things tonight.
Trip.
Did we have any responses from the county? On everything? Good. Item number 4 is Charles and Christine Argo, 925 Dutchess Turnpike. Good evening.
Hello. Hi there.
Okay, so if each of you would just state
It's
your
actually
name.
misspelled. It's Agro, A-G-R-O. I'm Charles Agro. This is Christine.
A-G-R-O, ooh.
Transposed.
It's spelled right on there.
Our apologies.
That's okay.
Happens all the time.
Common mistake.
Mr. and Mrs. Agro, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so briefly, why do you need a variance?
We're adding an extension. It's a living space for Christine's mother who'll be moving in with us on the ground floor. So it'll be a mother-in-law apartment, a bedroom, sitting room, bathroom. Off of the back, it follows the line of the property. Most of the property's grandfathered. The property's about 11 feet, 11 inches from the property line. So it follows the original property. It's historical property. I think you have a picture of it in the back of the room, actually, against the window. So we're keeping it in accordance with the building itself, as much in line with it as possible. But 1111 is requires a variance.
Okay. Christina, any questions?
No questions.
Betty?
I have no questions.
Art?
No questions.
Okay. I was delighted to see when I opened up the plans, the way you're going to make the new addition match with the older building. It's really, it's a little gem.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Larry?
No questions.
Phyllis?
Just one. You referred to it as an apartment, but really
It's not.
It's not an apartment. It's a living. It's it'll be
like a bedroom with maybe a
Right.
sitting area.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a separate entrance.
Okay, thank you.
and
And more a kitchen, correct?
No
No.
kitchen.
No,
No.
it does not.
Thank you.
Okay.
But we're going to tell her it's a separate apartment.
Oh, well.
Carmen?
Tell her otherwise.
You can get your mother-in-law to cook for you?
That's might be one of the advantages, yes.
I have no questions.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 925 Dutchess Turnpike? Okay, hearing none. If there are no other questions from the board, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Item number 5, Hani Bakuri, 111 Spackenkill Road. Okay, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, if you'd each state your names and be sworn in.
My name is Ernst Martin with KC Engineering. I am the applicant's engineer and surveyor.
And Mayor Fakuri, I'm the attorney and the applicant's son.
The applicant is your
Father.
father. Okay.
All right, Mr. Martin and Mr. Fakori, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
I understand.
Okay. All right, so if you would just sort of briefly describe what your application is.
Okay, the subject property is located at 111 Spackenkill Road. It is owned by Mr. Hani Fakari. And it's the intent to allow an accessory apartment on the grounds. It meets the requirements as set forth in the code. There's ample parking located in the front of the property. It does have a separate entrance. It's served by central water and central sewer.
Okay. Okay. Christine, any questions?
Oh, no, not right now, thank you.
Okay. Betty?
I couldn't, when I walked around the property, I couldn't find the door to the apartment. The only door that I found on the ground floor was in the front, right in the very front. And all the way around the back to this part here, there was like a sliding glass door.
Yeah, if you're facing the house, you have the main entrance in the front that you saw, and if you walk to the right, it's right on the side. It's
Walk to the right of the building?
Yes.
If you go to the
We're-
right.
Yeah, we were over there, but there was no one living in that portion.
Yeah, they moved out because what happened was when this issue arose, the owner had to occupy the property. We gave the notice to the tenants that were there, and they left that side
How long ago did they move out?
less than a month ago. They moved out on the 2nd of July. It's 1st of July. They were out.
So both
No, the main
the main house
is
and the
rented.
apartment were both being occupied by someone that doesn't live, not an
Well,
owner.
Initially, my dad lived there and rented out. As we all got older and moved out, the house is very, it's a big house, as you probably saw. So initially, he rented out the one side, and then he started to spend winters in Florida and coming back and forth. So then he went ahead and rented both sections out since he was really spending more time with us, the kids, every time he came back from Florida. And then, fast forward, till Sarah Davis found out that it was rented with two different people. We found out that that's, illegal. So we go ahead and gave notice to the one side tenant to leave, and which my dad is going to occupy when he comes back from Florida.
Now, the apartment, the accessory apartment, is downstairs and upstairs,
It's 2 levels, yes.
2 levels.
Correct. And that was the structure of the house from the beginning. We didn't add or change anything. It's always been a very weird design. It's multi-levels, like it goes up and then kind of down. But since the blueprint of day one that my dad bought the property, there was no additions added to this property. It's always been the same.
Because from the outside, it really looks like there's at least 3.
Oh, no.
Apartments in there.
Yeah, it's a very odd design. It's when you first walk into the main entrance and you have an upstairs and a couple bedrooms, then you kind of like loop around, then it kind of goes downstairs, and then there's like the apartment that side. So the design is not your traditional, design. It's a very unique design. But it's definitely just for 2.
And your father's going to live there.
Correct.
Seasonally.
Yeah, it's seasonal. He'll be there probably
Which space? What do you mean seasonal? Like,
when he comes back and forth from Florida. He'll be there, occupy the house. Most likely, it's going to be the right side, the apartment sides.
he's going to move into the apartment portion?
Correct.
And how often does he stay in Florida? For the winter, like January, February, March?
Yeah,
April?
he definitely is here for the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. And then he goes for a couple months there and comes back for Easter and stuff. So he's back and forth. But most of the time he's in New York because all his kids and grandkids are here.
Okay, you can go around.
Okay, Art?
Who's going to live there when your father's not there?
Nobody. If
It'll
that's
remain
it.
empty.
Absolutely.
Do you have access from the house to that apartment?
There is a door that's locked from the main house. Yes. And to be completely honest, we actually told the people living there to leave right away once we found out that wasn't supposed to be that situation. So we actually gave them the notice and they moved out right by the 1st.
And how long has that apartment been there? The house was built?
It was
With an apartment
built
in
like
mind?
that.
So if we went back and checked all the plans, we'd find out it was built to that specification?
Absolutely. The only thing that was changed was we added an oven because the whole downstairs. Actually, you know what? Let me stand corrected. We added cabinets. There was a small sink there. There was a pool back when the house was built.
Inside?
No, outdoor pool. An in-ground pool in the back. And that was where the kitchen is now, where you look out through the side door. That was almost like, going out to the pool. It was already tiled and everything. So we really just added the cabinets and the oven. But it's been like that for a while.
So you're saying there was a kitchen there when you had the pool in the backyard? The kitchen?
No, we added the cabinets and the fridge and the oven.
So you added a kitchen?
Correct.
So it's not up to the plans when the house was built? The kitchen has been added since the house was built?
There was,
Correct?
correct. I mean, that's my father's house. When we moved in,
Doesn't matter whose house it is, you said there's a kitchen that was added after the house was built. The house was not built with a kitchen in that apartment.
No, it was added.
And how many square feet is the apartment gonna be?
It's about 1,400.
1,400, and how much living space and how big is the house without that?
It's about 4,000.
Yeah, actually, there are some discrepancies in the.
Yes, there is.
In the application. I notice on the property card on the parcel access that the total structure has 3,810 square feet. And at one point in the application, it's stated that the square footage is considerably more than that, 4,043. I don't quite know what the discrepancy is, but.
We had obtained the file from the building department just to see if there were, just to see what was on file and if there was any outstanding violations in that. And to try to go through that, we were having difficulty trying to figure out all the square footages. What we did is we actually went out there and measured it. So I believe that the numbers that are in the application are correct. I can't really say for the property card.
So the number that you state is a little over 4,000 square foot is based on your measurements?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's still not, what you put in the application doesn't add up, because, well, let me ask a clarification question, if I could, Jim, I'm sorry. Is
Yeah,
when you say main home is on your two drawings, you have main home 23, on the first floor, 2,300 square feet. That includes the apartment? Yes or no?
No, it's not.
So the home is 5,335 square feet. So if I add the two main floors, the main homes up, and add the apartment, you're telling me the entire structure is 5,000?
Oh, total, yes.
5,335 square feet.
And that sounds about right. It's a pretty big
So then
house.
number 5 on the application should be, am I right on this here? 5,335 square feet?
Yeah. Yeah, the 4,000 is just wrong. I mean, something's wrong. I don't know which. But somehow we got to get it straightened
And how
out.
much percentage is the apartment of the total house? What do we allow, 35%?
The max is 35%.
What's
No,
this come to?
I see the point made.
So,
Because the number,
as it turns out, even the smaller number, I did the arithmetic. If you take 35% of the smallest number,
Big house.
It is.
it's okay. But
I see your point, though, really. The question is the total square footage of the home, and I think we may have taken that as the main, not the, which should be the total structure, not just the one apartment. So I think that was the issue. In other words, the total
okay.
square footage of the house probably should be the 4,000 plus the 1,300, and then the apartment is the 1,292.
Okay, so you're suggesting that the numbers that are on the floor plan
Yes, are correct.
are probably correct?
Yes.
Does that include the garage?
I'm sorry?
Does that include the garage?
No.
Okay. Art, I interrupted you. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's fine, no, I'm just, obviously this is a very confusing application.
Sandy.
I'm okay for now, go ahead. Somebody else?
Yeah, okay. I mean, my impression in going through this is that the application is, as it stands, incomplete. And I just listed a number of questions, and some of which perhaps we can answer, and some of which you may have to come back. I think there was a question about who owns the property. And You've clarified that your father, Hani, is the owner and intends to live in what you're calling the apartment.
Well, he's gonna be living in the apartment, yes. I mean, initially, they were both rented out. So that's, let's just get this, make sure that everybody's on the same page. They were initially both rented out.
Right.
When Sarah Davies came out, she said, listen, you can't do it, this is the issue. We right away gave notice to the one tenant, told him to leave.
Right.
So now, instead of my dad come and sleep at my house, or my brother's house, or my sister's house, he said, fine, I'll just go back to living at 111 Spackenkill. So that's the game plan.
Okay.
So right now, it's completely empty, because we're trying to follow whatever the rules and regulations are.
All right, but when he moves in, he's going to move into.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gonna
into
be
the
there.
The smaller of the
Yes.
two
The
spaces.
smaller, correct.
Which makes perfect sense. I mean, that's not a problem. Okay. One of the reasons that I'm kind of pursuing this is that, as you probably know, there was some conflicting information. I saw one document that suggested that the owner of the property is actually a holding company. No.
That's not accurate. No, it's under Hani Fakuri. The D is under Hani Fakuri. There's no
Okay,
holdings.
okay. And then on yet another document, the name Daniel Fitzgerald came up.
That's what the main tenant. Daniel Fitzgerald is one of the tenants that rents the main house.
Okay, and is he there now?
Yes.
No, wait a minute.
Wait, but I thought you said the
Fitzpatrick. Is it Fitzpatrick?
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, that's the one that rents now. There's only one tenant that rents the house now. There's no two tenants.
Okay, so you.
That be a tenant with a child?
A couple of
Yes.
children, yeah.
Yes.
Because we saw a child, yes.
Yes.
So my next question, I guess, would be, and I'm sorry I jumped in there, is how many bedrooms does the apartment have? Because they live in what?
They're in the house, not the apartment.
No, he said the main part of the house was empty right now,
Not
correct?
the main part. The main part is rented to Daniel Fitzpatrick.
Okay,
Finish your question.
okay, all right.
Well, if it's the main part of the house, it doesn't matter.
I have another question since I
Yeah.
got bumped.
Go ahead.
Coming back. Did you get a permit to build a kitchen? Did you ever a building permit?
According to my dad, no.
So it's an illegal kitchen.
That's correct. And if,
But-
obviously,
but-
that's a condition.
But if I may add, I mean, in researching the building department's records, they say there's no outstanding violations at all.
Do they know there's a kitchen in there? Have they been in?
Well, when you,
They probably don't know, but after all the smoke clears and everything's said and done, then you're gonna have to go back and rectify that without
Of course.
without having a permit for that kitchen or any building permits.
We
At that
can.
point.
Yeah, I
After it's-
mean, it's
You know,
not just a building,
Building,
it's
the
also
building
a fire
department
issue.
is gonna come
Absolutely.
after you about that stuff. so
We already
understand
are
that.
taking into consideration that God, if everything goes okay over here, that we have to go through the building department to get him out there and make sure all the, he does his inspection and apply for a proper building permit. So we are definitely aware. From the get-go, I'm sure, if you talk to Sarah, she'll tell you I was very on. I told her, what do you need us to do? She's like, get rid of the tenant. We got rid of the tenant. And she made it clear that we got to go through this process, which I'm very familiar with. And I'm very familiar with to go get a building permit and go through that process as well. So we want to do whatever is the proper procedure.
Okay, good. All right, then, I too was confused about the entrances. The door that's on the south side of the building, is that a door to the apartment or to the?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
no,
This is the.
south side would be the main entrance. The east side, as you go around facing the house, the right side,
Yeah.
that's the entrance to the apartment.
So if you're facing the
That-
house,
That makes
No.
no sense in terms of the diagram.
Facing the house.
You're facing the
Standing
hou-
at the street, facing the house. We
You're looking
went
at the-
around to the right, that whole portion of the house
there's
is
a door
empty.
there.
It's empty.
Yeah, no,
But
the
there's no
apartment's
one in
empty.
there. Oh.
Yeah, no, we left it empty. We kicked it. Told the tenant to leave. The main house, Daniel Fitzpatrick lives in the main house where the main door is.
All right, show us on here, because from here, this has got to be laid out backwards. That's what I think it is.
Where's the
Yeah,
front of
where-
the,
I
where's the
think
front
it's-
of, where's the front of the
Here's the
house?
front of the house.
Is this the front of the house?
He's in show right now.
Or is this the front of
Okay.
the,
This is the front.
the apartment's on the wrong side?
Oh, I don't know.
Apartment.
That was a negative.
No, the apartment's on the other side, you're showing
The
us.
apartment's over here.
This whole thing is,
Oh. Oh.
okay, so the main door where we saw the people was there.
This is Spack and Kill. We went to the front, we went around
Right.
here, this is all empty. It's all empty.
I'd like to see this. I would really like to see this apartment.
Oh, yeah, usually in plans or flats.
I'm just telling you where we walked. You can see in the windows, it's all empty.
Right,
I'm just,
right.
Okay. All right,
so,
now,
but this is supposed to be the apartment.
This would be like the park.
Parking is like,
Oh, okay, right, okay, I saw stairs in there.
Move it
Right,
10
okay.
feet.
Okay, all right, so it was,
okay,
it's
so what you're saying is that
Right.
backwards on
south
the
is at the
paper.
top of the page.
Yes.
Yes, that's why.
Yeah, a little directional arrow would have helped.
Maybe. Next door.
Okay,
Oh, my God.
all right, in any case,
Get some information.
Yes, that makes more sense.
I think one of the things that needs to be clarified, and I think it's going to require some new drawings, is to show us exactly where the doors are, and also indicate what the configuration of the apartment is. There was some question in the review of this about the separation between the apartment and the main dwelling, and the number of bedrooms, and because in case of the apartment, there's a limit. Just to clarify that for us. Okay, we've talked about the clarifying the issues of the sizes. The other thing that came up was the parking situation. In effect, what you've got are cars parked in the front yard, and the code does not allow that. You can park on the driveway that leads up to the garage, but the parking spaces that are off to the right, as you go in, is essentially front yard parking, and that is not permitted. So something has to be worked out to rectify that. Now, I understand you've probably been parking there for years, but that's what the code is.
Is it, there's no parking allowed in front of the front line of the house?
Right.
Didn't answer.
Right. If you go to the code, the basic statement is there's no parking between the street and the front of the house, except if you have a driveway that runs to a garage, then people can park in front of their garages, and you see that a lot. But the idea of parking off the driveway is not allowed.
So you can park in the garage, and you can park up into on the driveway leading up to the garage, but not off to the side.
Right.
Jim, I have another question.
Yes.
Isn't that the entire front yard that's paved here? Don't we have a problem there? How much surface area do we have that's paved?
The lot that they're on is huge and extends way in the back. So that
How much are they allowed to pave in the front yard?
I think you're allowed a driveway to the garage.
But this is,
Yeah, no, I mean,
that's
What are you saying?
what I'm saying. I mean, isn't this over what you're allowed? This whole pavement area in the front of the house, isn't
Yeah, you
that
should-
beyond,
you should
over and
not-
above what's allowed? So
yeah,
even if they-
essentially, you're not to have a parking pad in the front or park on the lawn.
remedied as well.
presumably.
Thank you.
But the pavement goes from the street as you pull in to the front and to most of the garages, then you have the little right, so they could use it as a turnaround.
More than a little. You had, I think in the past, I've seen 6 to 8 cars in that front yard.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's more than a little.
Yeah, what won't work here is on this drawing. You can certainly have a driveway that goes from the entrance off of Spackenkill up to
The garages.
the garages. But it's those, what have you got there, 6 spaces? That is in violation. So this would be to the east. My understanding, and you can ask the zoning administrator to clarify, but my understanding is that those spaces would not be allowed by the code. You could, you know, as I said, you've got a huge piece of property here. You have parking in the back. I mean, there are a lot of other options, but I just wanted to point that one out. Okay, Larry, any questions?
No.
Okay, Phyllis?
Just a couple. What year did your father buy the house, please?
He bought it in 2003, I believe.
Okay.
2003.
2003.
Okay. And at that time, he lived there with your siblings and,
Correct.
okay. And were you renting out the apartment?
No.
Okay. Now, when I walked around the house, there were 5 satellite dishes.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you explain those, please?
Yeah. I know it's you know, Dish Network, and then when you switch companies and they won't take it down, they put up another satellite dish, but I know it's a complete eyesore.
It was a curiosity to me because it
Oh, yeah.
looked like there was at least 5 families
Yeah.
living in there pulling in
Oh
fees.
no, it's just from the prior years. Like they would have a Dish Network, or they would switch to some other, you know, cable that does, you know, satellite, and then every time they switched, they wouldn't take down the old one. They would leave it up there, and so. I mean, my house now, where I live in East Fishkill, the guy had some kind of dish. He's got 2 dishes on the house, on $1 million house, and I look at it, I'm like, and there's 2 of them. And then I wanted to switch cable companies, and they said, well, we'll add a 3rd one. I was like, forget it. Then my whole roof is going to look like Spackenkill now. So they won't take them down. They won't. They think that's going to ruin the roof, or it's going to be a liability. So they just keep adding. But that wasn't for tenants or anything. No.
Okay. And the Fitzgerald?
He's the tenant.
Okay. Is he moving out or is he staying?
We would like him to stay. He's currently renting in. You know, he's a month-to-month tenant in the main house. So, and the accessory apartment is currently vacant.
Okay. I have no further questions, thank you.
You're welcome.
How many people are in the main house right now? We did see some children.
It's him, the husband, his wife, and I believe 2 kids.
2 kids.
Yeah, 2 kids.
Okay.
Jim, did we get clarification on how many bedrooms are in the apartment?
No.
No.
Because that's one of the things that needs to be clarified.
Right.
Only 1 allowed.
Right. So, you know,
I'd like to see the apartment.
yeah, I mean, what I was going to recommend is that we adjourn this to the next month and to give you some time to clarify a number of the questions that we've raised. And I think, you know, checking the numbers, clarifying, you know, the orientation, the layout of the apartment, where the entrances are, and suggesting how you're going to address the parking issue. So I think it would, and that would also give us an opportunity to go back and maybe we could actually set up a time and you
Sure.
could just show us.
Yeah, to see the accessory
That
apartment.
that would probably be the best way.
Yeah, I'll give you my cell
Yeah.
phone if you want to call me, and then I could coordinate it.
Okay. Does,
Betty had a question this time.
You just said you wanted to see the accessory apartment. I would like to see the way it's laid out inside. I would like to see the whole place if I could.
well,
I'd like to be able to see how it breaks out, because looking at it from here, we can't tell. It's really confusing. It was
yeah,
upside down on the, or.
Yeah, it's a very unique design.
Yeah, I kind of hate to, intrude on somebody else, on your tenant family. But perhaps just a drawing of the layout of the main.
Maybe I could take some pictures.
Would give us, an idea.
Cheaper to bother the tenants. I said it's less expensive to bother the tenants.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
already.
but I'm.
Yeah,
I rented an apartment for a long time, and I didn't appreciate people trooping through it.
Yeah, they don't.
Right.
But if you want, I could give Arthur my cell phone if he wants, or whoever wants. I can meet him out there sometime, and then I can show him the accessory apartment. I could take pictures of. I could tell the tenant to take pictures. I could kind of explain to him.
Okay. What we can do is we typically take a field trip, in which usually there are a couple of them, and board members go around and look at the various applications. And what we can do is let you know when we're going to do that, and hopefully that works out. Otherwise, we'll find another time when it.
Yeah, we could. I'm sure I could.
Okay, that would be great. I think that would address a lot of the things that we have.
That's good. Jim, if we go out to take a look and go inside to see the accessory apartment, then we will understand its connection to the big house.
I think so.
Anyway, so.
I think so. So, okay. All right, are there any other questions? Yeah. Brian? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, we can take care of that. Okay, anything else from board members? Okay, before we, and I think what we're going to do is adjourn this, but before we do, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this application, 11 Spattenkill Road? Yes, sir. You'll have to come forward and put your name in the record and be sworn in.
Hi, my name is Irene Monk, and I live at 109 Spattenkill Road. And I just want to clarify that we...
And you have to be sworn.
Before you do.
I was waiting for the
Sorry.
gentleman, I assumed.
Oh, my name is Victor Fernandez.
Oh, so you're not together?
together.
Okay, Mr. Fernandez and Ms. Monk, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to clarify, we've owned the property adjacent to this property since 2010. When we first moved in, Hani and Mahar lived there with their families, Mahar's wife and Hani's wife. We saw the work being done on the apartment. It was the fall of 2010, the spring of 2011. We saw it without building permits, and in truth, because it was a family, we just let it, we didn't say anything. Somewhat the property was maintained. Fast forward, November 2012. So over the course of 2 weeks in the evening, they moved out. At the same time, the house is in foreclosure. So Hani moved out, Mahar moved out, their wives moved out. They were served with foreclosure notice by JP Morgan Chase. So they tried the tenants, who were David Wonderink at the time in the accessory apartment. The main house where Daniel lives wasn't rented at that time. He rented in December of 2012. So Hani has not lived on the property, and it's singly owned, it's not owned joint with his wife, in 21 months. In those 21 months, he's been collecting approximately $28,000 to $33,000 a month. The house has been in foreclosure. In February 2013, J.P. Morgan Chase went to the Supreme Court of New York State and is now looking for remedy. So I did a little timeline and some notes. I also went down to the county records and I pulled the pertinent documents and copied, and we have copies here for you. The file is about this thick. So in general, I understand your questions. I think it should be adjourned to, Hani lives on the property. He moves in. He's going to be here maybe someday. That's the code in the town. And residency in New York State is you have to live a certain amount of months in the property to have residency. So I think that needs to be clarified. The current partner, the current main house tenant, he's been there, he's been fine. The first tenants moved in while they were moving out in the accessory apartment, those first tenants. They only lived here a year, they were fine. The first tenants in the accessory apartment, 2 adults, 2 children. The house, 2 adults, 2 children. Okay? The second family that moved into the accessory apartment in December of 2013, 2 adults, 1 child. That tenant, we saw, he was a contractor. We saw scaffolding. I saw a mattress behind a shrub. I saw he had things under tarps that turned out to be a doom buggy that he rammed into the shrubs and hid with a blue tarp. So I think there is a behavior of not maintaining since this time when the property has gone into foreclosure and as of last week has not been satisfied. So approximately right now I've been told it takes about 2 years to become bank owned. He's been collecting probably net about $50,000. I'm sure the bank is paying the property and school taxes. The property's not been maintained. You're starting to see, like on the property line that we faced, when they moved out, they left their decrepit grill and broken lawn furniture and just stacked up. The current tenant, Daniel, has actually gotten rid of some stuff and cleaned up, and he does what he can. So I think it should be adjourned till Hani lives on the property. There is some clarification as to how many bedrooms, because I know the first tenants, it was marketed as a 2-bedroom. You know, there's some inconsistencies, to say the least. And now going forward, you approve this apartment and it becomes bank owned. You've now complicated a complicated situation. And as we know, there are several houses, one about 5 houses down that's bank owned, and it's been empty for 5 years. There's 2 on Wilbur Boulevard. It's an inevitability. The outstanding amount, I think, is up to $390,000. He's had the house for sale, unlisted, unmarked. So the marketing has been said that we'll get a short sale. And that's what he's been looking for. The sale's been pending for over 6 months. You know, we didn't make the complaint. I saw the file. The complaint came from some return address from the high school. But now that this is going formal for an accessory apartment, it's become ridiculous. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want copies of these?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You can, actually, if you just give us one.
That's what I mean. I'm just going to give you. I mean, it's a copy of things I got. There is when the bank basically went for a request for jurisdiction intervention.
Unfortunately, you've got to speak into the microphone.
The one is a request for from the bank for intervention, is where they asked the court to be heard. The return envelope was actually stamped to the document. It was date stamped, and it is a return address. Hani used his son's address. And if you look, I copied off, an address search on the internet. It comes out to his address. I mean, Hani hasn't lived there for almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think Sandy should make this part of the file, and she can make copies and see.
There are copies there, are they not?
See that we
Or
each
is
get
it
one.
just one?
Just one.
It's a single group. I figured you could make copies for the individual board members.
But we'll see that
You will.
those are distributed. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, the zoning regulation says it's supposed to be a resident or owned by, has to live there. The intention of the zoning regulation is to facilitate a homeowner in keeping their home. The zoning change request says it is to be a primary residence, which right now it isn't. There is a past behavior of letting the property go into foreclosure while collecting the rent. The property is in foreclosure and maintenance is not the primary concern. If the zoning change request is to be approved, the property needs to be the owner needs to live there, per their zoning requirement, which causes him or her to have a stake in the financial health of the property and also to keep up the maintenance. And that's what we're asking.
That is part of the criteria, and that's, we actually could not grant that if all the criteria was not met.
We're just striking that home. It's a redundancy in statement. We just want to make sure that it's perfectly understood that we expect that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And anyone else that wishes to address this? Okay.
Just like to respond to that. That's
Sure.
you know, the neighbors are bringing up points that actually, makes no sense whatsoever what we're asking here today. My dad is the legal owner of that property. The bank has not foreclosed on it. He is going through the process of keeping the property. We would not be here today and spend money on engineers and application fees to get the accessory apartment if he was losing the property to the bank. The tenants, the next door neighbors are so enthusiastic about expressing their feelings about the property and their conditions. But when they moved in 2010 and they were, digging up roads and putting up boulders and God knows what they were doing on their property, we didn't make any complaints either. So, back to the facts. The facts are my dad still owns the property. There was proceedings, being against the property, but he still owns the property and he still continues to want to own that property and he will own that property. So it's a moot point. He owns the property. The bank did not foreclose on it. So he has every right to be here today to ask for this variance.
Okay, well, these are some of the things that we're going to have to sort through in the next month.
Quick question, and I'll stop.
Yeah, okay.
How many bedrooms in the house and how many bedrooms in the apartment?
There's 2 bedrooms in the main house, and there's 2 rooms. One's a bedroom, one's a playroom.
How many bedrooms in the apartment?
1.
Thank you.
So there's only 3 bedrooms in 5,000 square feet?
One of them is used as a bedroom, and one of them is used as the playroom, as a computer room.
Okay.
Definitely one.
Okay, all right, we've got a fair amount to sort through, and you understand there's some material that you're going to have to get to us.
Sure.
And we'll make arrangements to do a field trip, and we'll sort through the additional information that we've gotten tonight. All right, is there anything else? No. If not, is there a motion to adjourn item number 5 to our August meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 6, Brian Martin, 70 Alda Drive. Oh, good. All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
So if you just state your name?
Brian Martin.
Mr. Martin, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Okay.
Okay, so briefly, why are you here?
To get a variance for my shed to be only 3 feet away from my neighbor's property line instead of the 10.
Okay, and this is just on, oh, actually, it's 3 feet from the rear and 3 feet from the side.
Correct.
So they're really 2. Okay. Christine, any questions?
No, just to refresh my memory, it was set back and there's woods around it.
What was that?
It's wooded around the area where you're going to be putting the shed.
Yes, in the back, there's a wood fence, and the lady on the other side has a fence, has a shed over there.
That's right, okay. No more questions.
Okay, Betty?
I have no questions.
Art?
No questions.
Okay, and you've answered mine. Larry?
No questions.
Phyllis?
No questions.
Carmen?
No questions.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 70 Alder Drive? Okay, seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As Mr. Martin sighs with relief.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 7, Jason and Monica Langevin, 9 Monroe Drive.
You doing?
Just state your name, please.
Jason Langevin.
Mr. Langevin, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Okay, so briefly, the variance that you're seeking.
Looking to put in a deck around part of my pool. I don't know if y'all saw, there's sort of a drop off between the pool and there was some grading on our backyard. So half of the pool sort of has this drop off around the edge of the pool. So we're looking to sort of remedy that because it is sort of a hazard to fall in between there. And so we want to put a deck up to facilitate that.
I thought that looked intentional, like it was dug out that way to put the pool in. I didn't realize that it wasn't. It looked like it had been dug out so that the pool could be put up, and then I thought it was going to be filled in again.
Well, you can't fill it in against the pool. So that's the dilemma. You can't put dirt right up against a pool like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the weight would be too much. I mean, it would tend to collapse in the wall of the pool, I'm afraid. Christina, any questions?
Questions?
Betty, anything else?
That's a lot of deck on the back end. Is there some reason why you choose to build it that way, as since the pool sits kind of to the left portion of the backyard? I think I would have expected the deck to be somewhat around the whole pool as opposed to on the back side of it or on the oval portion. Most decks go around, I would say, the length of the pool on one side.
Right, so one thing is I'm trying to fix the issue of the gap between the ground and the pool. So that is actually around essentially half the pool, that upper half. The lower half, there's a patio down on the lower half. On the upper half is where that grading kind of comes into play. So that's really what we're trying to facilitate, is to fix that problem. And then really on the sides is where we have just really a small amount of decking just to sort of fix that problem, because that's where it starts to grade up. Really where we want it is mostly at the top. That's why we have the larger portion up there, because that's where you'll really sit and be able to have a view into the pool. That's sort of the other problem we're having, is when the kids are in the pool or something like that, there's really no view into the pool unless currently we just put 2 chairs up there now just so you can kind of see in if you're not in the pool with the kids.
Actually, the children were in the pool when we were there.
Right, did they have the chairs up on
Yes.
top?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the other issue.
But if the deck was around the side, you would still be able to see into the pool.
Around the sides, yes. That would be more deck.
Okay, I have no other.
Okay, Art?
that's the only place, it's up already, but was that the only place the pool could have gone? What else is in?
Yeah, there's all our septic
Yeah, septic
system
is not central,
is in
okay.
the center and to the right.
That's a good reason. Okay,
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me follow up on Betty's question about the deck as it goes to the rear. Which I did kind of a rough, it looks as if from the edge of the pool back, the deck extends 13 or 14 feet. I mean,
It's about 11.
11?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me just put it this way. What if you took 5 feet off the back of that deck, so that instead of being 4 feet from the property line, say you're 9 feet or 10 feet or something? In other words, make the deck a little smaller. It would still fit around the pool, so it would cover that gap, which I understand why you need to do that.
Yeah.
But then you wouldn't really be encroaching back behind you quite so far.
Well, the other thing is we want to have seating to be able to see into the pool. So we need some space to sort of walk between seating, have a ladder into the pool, because that would be the area where you'd have a ladder then, because you wouldn't have it on the side any longer, because there would be decking there. You'd have it come in there, so you'd have to have, a sort of walkway and a place to sit as well. So if you're talking about, 5 feet, that becomes tough with chairs and walking space and a ladder.
Okay.
And also in the back there, this is all a fenced-in yard, so the further you go back, you're just going against a fence, as well as there's huge trees behind that. So there's really I don't know if there's really an issue going back.
Okay, all right. When I look at the drawing and kind of run some of the numbers, it just seems pretty big. But
Well, it says it's 29 feet in total to the back, but you don't really know from the end of the pool to the back of the deck how far that is. Yeah.
The deck starts about halfway, so I'm figuring 16 or 17 feet along the pool, and then back, so that's 10 or 11 feet of just deck in the back. And I was just wondering if you really needed that much. But I can understand why you want seating there so that you can keep an eye on kids. I understand that totally. But I just wondered if it was a little excessive. Okay. I mean, the reason I harp on that, I'm not doing this just to give you a hard time, but the code that we have, and the procedure that we have to go, is to grant minimum variances. I mean, what's the smallest variance that serves your purpose with, and yet, conforms to the code. So that's why I raised the question. Larry, any questions?
No questions.
Phyllis?
We were just out not long ago before the pool
Before the
went
pool,
up, correct?
yes.
When did the pool go up, please?
June, mid to late June. I'm sort of, the date escapes me, I'm sorry.
And so really having to go back for the deck is kind of an afterthought. It's as a result of the yard and correcting the gap?
Yeah, we didn't realize it was going to be that big of an issue.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Carmen?
No question.
Oh, wait, I do have a question. Does that mean then that the pool, the deck itself will have some sort of skirting that goes around from the pool to the back of the deck so that you can't get into that area where?
The underneath?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put up lattice was the idea, to have
Okay.
like a lattice,
That was- all right,
lattice
that's fine.
border.
Okay.
Okay, if there are no other questions from the board, is there anyone from the audience that wishes to address the application at 9 Monroe Drive? Seeing none, No further questions. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay, thank you very much. Item 8, Michael and Lisa Macklin, 22 Briarwood Drive. Good evening, folks.
Lisa Macklin.
Michael Macklin. Good evening.
Mr. and Mrs. Macklin, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
I understand.
Yes.
Okay, and I understand from the application you're doing some home renovations.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And it looks like almost all of it is interior except you want to add a dormer.
Correct.
Okay.
We live in a traditional Cape with the 2 rooms upstairs. We basically want to take one of the rooms, our son's room, cut it in half, push the dormer out to the existing wall of the house itself, and just have a
And
dormer.
give our daughter a bedroom. Our daughter doesn't have her own room.
Okay.
So
And so this would be out the
this
back.
is not, this is in the back of the home. It is not extending the length or width of the house at all. It, according to the plan, it's just coming right up off of the roof and the back of the Cape. You won't be able to see it from the front. And like my husband said, it will line up with the existing wall of the back of the home. And we'll be able to provide my daughter with a bedroom for the first time ever.
Okay. I remember that magic day when I got rid of my younger brother. Great day. Christine.
No questions.
Betty.
No question.
Art.
I do have a question. If you're not coming past the line of the house, why do we need a variance?
That's what we thought as well. We were just told that
I don't
our
understand that.
house itself was grandfathered in, but we were told that because we were doing any construction on the home, that needed a variance. We were just following the rules. We had that same question.
Because of our neighbors on the left and the right of us, I don't think it's more
Because
than
our home doesn't sit 20 feet from the property line on the side of the home, so our home itself is grandfathered in because the home was built in 1952 or
Right, so
54.
presumably even if you're building up, we get these a lot, even if you're building up,
Yeah.
if it's, if you have a 1-story that's non-conforming and you build up and don't change it, it's still, so it may be that this falls within the.
We've actually had a number of cases like this. Most of them in New Hampshire.
The only question I had, thank you.
Okay. Larry?
No question. Don't touch that.
Phyllis?
I have no questions.
Carmen?
No questions.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 22 Briarwood Drive? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hope your daughter enjoys the room. I did.
How could you say no?
Okay. Item number 9, David Seaman, 124 Grand Avenue.
Hello, I am Joanne Brown.
Hello.
Hi, Joanne Brown. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Thank you. I am here seeking a variance to legalize existing structures at 124 North Grand Avenue, specifically the pool and the back deck, porch deck that was enlarged from the original.
Okay. Okay. When I read through this and first question, what is your relationship to the owner?
Thank you. I'm the licensed real estate broker representing Mr. and Mrs. Seaman. They're the sellers, and we are at the point where we're trying to schedule a closing of the sale of the house, and so we're trying to get all of this legalized.
Okay, understood.
Do we have a consent?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. As I was working through this, there must be a couple of there's a typo someplace that had me mixed up.
I could maybe help. I found two directions transposed relative to the porch.
Okay. I believe that what's on the agenda and in the staff report dealing with the swimming pool is correct.
Yes.
But in the second part, the agenda, and at one point in the staff report, they refer to a deck, where I think what is meant is the porch.
The porch.
The screened-in porch. Okay. So if there's no objection, let's simply correct on the agenda where it says an area variance to allow an existing porch. And then the numbers are correct.
Well, if I may intrude.
Okay.
The 19 feet is from the north property line, where it needs to be 20, and 8 feet 6 inches is from the south property line.
Okay, so north and south are switched. Okay, so again, if there's no objection, we will simply correct what I think are simply typographical errors.
How was it advertised?
No, that's what I was going to ask.
Okay, let me look at the diagram here to make sure. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's 19 feet on the north side.
6 feet on the south.
On the south.
And that's how it was advertised, the way it was in the agenda.
Okay. Council, what do we do?
So it was advertised incorrectly?
Correct.
I'm correct that it was incorrect.
You're correct.
Sorry, just want to make sure I understood you. Are they both side, wait a minute, let me look at the picture. Both side yard variances?
Yeah.
Is there anyone here in the audience to talk about the application?
Yeah, I mean, is there anyone that wishes to address 124 North Grand Avenue?
Although there's a
No
big
one.
difference between what's being asked for on the two sides.
I mean, I would make the argument that this is not a material change. We're talking about two variances, one on each side.
And these are existing, right?
Mhm.
This is existing, right? So we're just
Existing.
revising?
Right.
Well, I mean, I do think you potentially have a problem with notice. The question is, the practical question, is anybody going to challenge it?
Okay, I'm willing to just.
Given that they're existing and did the advertisement say existing, Sandy? Did you use the word existing?
In the
It says existing.
agenda.
All right, I think you're okay.
Okay, I think we should just go ahead with it, but when we come to do the actual
Yeah, we
variance,
make sure we get it right.
We'll get it right. Yeah, okay. Okay, that was the question I had. So, let's see, I don't know, did
No questions.
Betty?
I have
Art,
no questions.
I'm good.
Larry?
Questions?
Phyllis?
Have the structures that you're requesting the variances for, have they been reviewed by the building department?
Yes, we had, the inspections are done, and I have the results of that. I'm not sure of the chain of custody with the reports among the offices, but actually have only one copy with me, but I'll be happy to give it to you. Bruce Flower was there, and he has checkboxed passed for, he inspected the pool, deck, rear porch, and there was an attic issue, but he has checkboxed passed on July 11th.
Okay, so I don't think there's probably not an issue then.
Well, I have no further questions.
Yep. Yeah, sure. I mean, technically speaking, the building permit issue is separate from the zoning. So,
Right, they just wouldn't issue the CO until the two come together.
right. So it sounds like if the variance is granted, then you're good to go.
We have a very pregnant buyer. She's due by the end of the month or something. Thank you. So we've been trying so hard to get them in there. So the baby will have a home. That little girl needs a bedroom. The baby.
No pressure for us, though.
No.
He didn't bring the pregnant buyer.
Oh, okay, okay. So, yeah. So tonight should finish it. Good, okay. If there are no other questions and there was no one in the audience, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you
Okay,
very
I
much.
think we got that
Thank you.
cleared up. Item 10, Tom and Nancy Russ, 27 Regency Drive. Okay. Okay, good evening.
All right, my name is Rich Galbraith.
I'm Brian Lanigan.
Okay.
Brian
Lanigan?
Lanigan. I didn't catch your name.
Rich Galbraith. We're here with Vanguard Energy representing Tony Russ.
Okay, Mr. Lanigan and Mr. Galbraith, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Okay, so you kind of briefly explain what your application is for.
So we're looking to put a solar array in at the 27 Regency Drive in the backyard.
Can I have a copy?
We cannot place it in the required zoning area due to the leach field, the sewer system in the backyard. 20 feet from the northern property line puts it just about in line with the house, which obstructs any view from the street of the solar array. So we're here to hopefully get approved for a variance to place the array in.
Okay. All right, at this time, we've gotten a communication on this, and I've been asked to read it into the record, so I will do that. To Town of Poughkeepsie Planning and Zoning, re-application for area variance 27 Regency Drive. Dear sirs, as the adjoining property owners to the applicants, we offer the following. One, the housing development, Town Meadows, in which the residence is located, consists of single-family homes with neighboring homes close to each other. The applicant's lot is an approximate 1/2 acre lot. It is our opinion that a ground-mounted solar panel system is not appropriate for this lot size with the density of housing in the close proximity. A ground-mounted solar panel system is more appropriate for a rural location. A roof-mounted solar system would be appropriate for this neighborhood, but we understand that due to the direction that the house faces, it may not be feasible. It is our belief that a ground-mounted solar system will decrease the property value of our home. 2, the application asks for a variance allowing that the solar system be placed 20 feet from our property. The obtrusive nature of a solar panel system is the reason that the regulations call for a 50-foot setback from side properties. The reason given that the system must be located 20 feet from our property is that if it were located in the middle of their property, given their property is 115 feet wide and the unit is 12 feet wide, which would leave 51.5 feet on each side if it was placed in the exact middle, it would interfere with their septic tile field. As solar panels are placed on poles above ground, we do not see how this would interfere with the septic tile field. Even if a septic lateral was in the path of a support pole, the expansion area could be used to lengthen the septic system. It is our belief that the placement was selected to lessen the impact on their yard, not as the only option available as required for variance. 3, the existing vegetation between our properties consists of 2 evergreen trees planted by the Russ family close to the area of the homes near the property line, and a swatch of deciduous trees and shrubs located on our property near the property line. The landscaping located on our property line does not provide adequate screening near the requested location, and being deciduous plants will not provide any during the fall through springtime. We could not find a height of the proposed panels in the application, but request that if the project is approved, a combination of fencing and landscaping be installed to completely screen the panels. If the project would be approved, a much more acceptable location would be all the way towards the back of the property in the middle, as the property slopes down at the rear and would be much less obtrusive. This location would require a variance from the setback from the rear property. However, given that the adjoining rear property is very wet and swampy, it is unlikely that any structure could be built near the property line on the adjoining property. We believe that the idea of solar power is positive, but unfortunately not in our location. We previously looked into the possibility of solar power, but were told that it could not be roof-mounted, so we were not a candidate to have it installed. Thank you for the consideration of our comments. Signed, Laura and Stephen Mance of 29 Regency Drive. So that becomes part of the record. I don't know, do you have any additional comments in light of that?
Yes, so with the installation of the system, the reason why it can't be placed over the leach field is that there will be 14 piers that go into the ground, 12 inches around, 4 feet deep, hitting leach field lines or trying to move posts mid-construction is a bear. We are here and willing to put up a fence to completely shield the array from the adjoining property. We cannot move it towards the rear of the property due to production issues. The closer we get to that line, the worse the electricity production will be. We try to keep it as far away from the house as we possibly could. We are willing and open to suggestions on how we would like to fence it. So that's what we're here to do.
Okay. Christine, questions?
No questions.
Betty?
How high is it? Yeah, first of all, I found it interesting that I couldn't really find a picture of what it was going to look like.
Okay.
That's first and foremost. And then like they said, you can't tell how high. The picture that you submitted makes it really difficult to envision what this might look like. And the neighbor next door they're almost on top of each other. He's going to have to be in his pool and look at this.
So the rear of the array will be at most 7 feet tall. So even a 6-foot fence would block nearly the entire thing. We can adjust the angle of the array so to get that lower, to have that below 6 feet, if that is an option. We can supply photos, renderings. I brought some with me today. If anyone would like to see how how exactly this is gonna look. The property does have a slope towards the rear, so as we get closer to the rear property line, the angle of the array will be up a little bit higher than closer to Regency Drive.
And I have another question. If you would just walk me through this relationship. The applicant, it wants to have the solar, or this array in their backyard, and they purchased it to a company that kind of vends it out to someone else to build it or design it?
We are the.
I mean, that's the way it kind of.
We are the contractor, so we sold them basically a leased product. We design, install the system, and then the third party owns the system, and we continue the maintenance and everything on it. And being a local company, that's how this third party works. I hope that answers your question.
Somewhat. And in over a 20-year period, somewhere in here it said that it was gonna generate like 208,000 kilowatts of power.
Yep.
Over 20 years. And I kind of figured it out a little bit, and that came out to be like, it didn't seem like a whole lot.
It's roughly 10,000 kilowatt hours a year, or it starts off about 14,000
A year,
kilowatt hours
10,000 a year, 10,415 a year, and so that's like 868 kilowatts a month. I work it out by the month because I know how much I use a month, and
Roughly,
so I was trying to use that
Yep.
as a
It's roughly a
comparison.
savings of $150 to $200 a month on average.
Okay.
Basically eliminating their electric bill, and now the solar array will offset their entire electric bill. That was the goal.
Now, so your company is going to maintain it, and what kind of maintenance does it take?
Actually, little to no maintenance. The only time that we would ever actually be called out is if there is an issue with the system, which is remotely monitored.
So you don't have to worry about wind or
Mice.
Everything's
What would you
built to
say?
the
Mice?
built to the building code. 90 mile an hour wind speeds and 35 pounds per square foot snow load.
Do you have? And then I guess I'm just a little curious as to why the applicants aren't here.
Well, we represent them throughout our whole process. We take care of all the permitting and zoning issues with all of our projects.
Okay.
They sign a release form right away saying, okay, we'll take care of everything involved in the project. We try to keep the customer's hands off as possible, make everything as easy as possible for them.
Okay. I'm okay for now.
Art?
After her, I forget what was it. What was I gonna say? Thanks. Okay, so you're saying that the customer is willing to fence it if we request some kind of a fence?
We actually offered to, other than provide the building material, include all the labor for free to put in the fencing.
fence up.
Yep.
Now, how about the angle? Oh, I got a question for you. Where is that neighbor? You said 29 Regency?
29. So that would be to the.
Where is that? Because you
That's
got
the guy
19 and
with
21.
It's over here, the guy.
That would be
That's
to the
21.
To the north.
Yep. Just to the
It's
north.
it's actually what you see on the, on the picture.
Well, according to the,
No, it's not.
what's this? This says 21.
What do you mean?
It says 19 on the left and 21 on the pool side. So is that neighbor in fact an adjacent neighbor?
Yeah, 29 should be the one directly to the north
So
of the
this is
property,
wrong.
with the pool about 15 feet away from the property
Okay,
line.
so this, okay, so the
This is,
map is,
this is an old map. This may be pre-9/11
all right.
or 9/11.
How about the neighbors to the left of the house? I don't know if that's north, south, or whatever.
I do have some photos of that.
How much glare is that gonna put on them? What's your angle? Will they be,
The angle, there should be no glare at all. They're at least 100 feet away from it. And if you're looking from the front of their house towards the back, you won't even be able to see it.
the neighbors on the left side, they won't?
Yeah.
You won't have any?
I'd taken some photos earlier if you'd like to see them
I would.
of approximately what the,
If you do have them, I'd appreciate it, sure.
Okay.
You can go on if you want.
You're-
I'm just waiting for the photos, but go ahead.
Oh,
Next.
okay. Oh, all right.
We can.
Do I get to keep the iPad?
This is approximately from the
guess not.
front of the house.
In front of which, who's this?
So this is in front of, this is 27?
Okay.
This is the
This is the
applicant.
pool, and this is the applicant. No.
No.
This is the applicant.
That's the applicant. And this is the one at, that was, I believe, 25 Regency Drive. And then if we flip to.
You can't really tell from this because unless this, and it's not. See, they're not in
Right there,
straight order,
right.
the houses. This one
So this is the house that's getting
further
the
out
array.
front, which is gonna be right out his window.
Excuse me, this is the house that's getting the array?
Yes. And the array will be placed directly behind that shed further towards the back. Now, if I flip back through here, this just gives you an idea of where approximately we are in, with the, this is walking along Regency Drive. This is the backyard. This is the deciduous trees in between the pool property and the, in 27 Regency Drive. This is some of the shrubbery that's there.
So, okay,
There's
there's
the
the here.
pool, so we're gonna go over on this side. And as I get further away,
Right here. That's where we're gonna be,
yep,
right-
that's
right
where we're gonna
there.
be placing
And
it, yes.
I see that.
Yep. So the pool's approximately 50 feet away from the
Property line.
as well.
Okay,
It's just,
thank you.
Actually, 4 acres.
Oh, wait.
Next.
4 acres.
Okay, if,
No, you can't, ever from me.
if I
4 acres.
understand correctly.
Excuse me, Jim,
yeah.
Phyllis had
They'd
wanted
like to see the photos.
We see those.
oh yeah, no problem. Sorry about that.
Actually, one of the things I was going to suggest is that if you could print out some copies of that to give to us. Because and let me not get ahead of myself, what I'm suggesting is that we adjourn this so that you can come back with a plan for a fence, because you said that was part of it. And then with the pictures to show kind of what it's going to look like. And so that all of us can, have it in front of us. Would that work?
That's not a problem.
Yeah, probably we need to talk into the microphones.
One of the issues that we have with that option is that this has been in limbo now for about 6 months. We handed in the building permit in February, and it just got to the zoning desk at the end of May, which the customer's been kind of like, we want to get this in. We have approvals through Central Hudson, through the New York State Rebate Authority. So
I appreciate that, yeah. But on the other hand, not to make excuses, this is the first time we've seen this.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think your suggestion that, putting up a fence, maybe, moving this slightly, changing angles or whatever would allay some of the concerns from the neighborhood, I think that would be well worth it.
Okay.
And my apologies to the applicant
Yep.
for the delay, but hey, this is.
Yeah, and that's completely understandable. So we're willing to bring back 3D renderings and everything for the August meeting. But we'd also like to have some proof that these ground-mounted solar array will decrease property values, if that is at all possible as well.
From who?
From whoever's.
Yeah, I mean, the argument was that
Argument against it.
this would reduce property values. That's a statement that's often made in these kinds of things. It's also something that's very speculative.
Yes,
and
of course.
Mr. Chairman, if I'm gonna go out there again, I would like to see something laid out on the ground that says, this is where the area is, and I don't know, a stick or something that says, this is how high it's gonna be. So when I'm standing in the yard, I can say to myself, this is the area that's gonna be used and how high it's gonna be. Because I think from the guy's pool next door, it's gonna be a big part of his view.
Okay, that's not a problem. We'll be easily able to provide that.
One more question.
Yeah.
You were, and this goes back to my, reflected glare to the, on the left side.
Yep.
Would you be able to take a picture from that tree line where it's going to be diagonal to that neighbor's house to give you an idea of what he's gonna?
Yep. Yep, not a problem.
It's just one more
No,
photo.
because the sun hits the panels mostly perpendicular.
Right.
Any glare goes back right up into the sky.
We had one that came in and probably would have blinded the neighbors. That was a few years ago.
Yeah, well, with the way we're doing these ground mounts, we're trying to keep them as low to the ground as possible and as out of sight, out of mind as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And pictures of the.
Of course.
I have a quick question. You've talked about the fence, and if you were to install the fence, does this in any way impact the effectiveness of the solar panels?
No, the fence would be on, running in parallel with the corner of the house to the adjacent property line, and then extended behind the array, which would be on the northern side, which has no effect on the array itself.
Okay.
Okay. Phyllis, do you have anything?
No, I'm all right. I'll wait till next.
Larry? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 27 Regency Drive? Okay. If not,
Tim, could I ask one question? Which was, did anyone ask the question with respect to the roof-mounted option, which was mentioned in the staff report? That's the only reason I'm asking it. Self-creation.
my understanding is that the peak runs north-south.
And that's what it is.
Which means that
Doesn't work.
There is options to go east-west facing, but with the layout of the roof at 27 Regency Drive with the vent pipes and everything that's located, it's not a very productive system. And with the very minimal south-facing portion of the roof, you might be able to get 3 to 4 panels up there, which is why we decided to go with the ground mount option.
Right, so that helps in your findings eventually.
Okay. Okay, so I move that we adjourn item number 10 to our August meeting to allow time for the applicant to submit additional materials, including a proposal for a fence.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, he was just agreeing.
I was just agreeing with you, sorry about that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're all, okay, motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, recusals? Okay, thank you. Okay, item 11, Miguel Rosario, 6 Debbie Court.
You forgot something?
Carlo Mazzarelli from Mazzarelli Architecture and Planning.
And Miguel Rosario.
Mr. Mazzarelli and Mr. Rosario, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Okay.
So we're here before you. My client has a massage. He's here for a home occupation. He does massage and also personal training. On the plan, we have approximately a 500 square foot area, which was formerly a 2-car garage. He utilizes that space, and we're really here before you to get this thing approved for this home occupation.
Okay. One of the things we're checking here is, this is, okay, this is an unlisted action, so before we have to do anything, we have to do the seeker approvals. So I think we'll have you fill out at some point tonight EAF short form.
You didn't get one, Sandy?
You had one here.
I thought I had one. I don't see it. You have. I'll make a copy.
Yeah, maybe you turned one in. They're just, I didn't find it in my packet, which. Well, this is a detail that we can.
I believe we fill it out.
Settle, yeah.
That'll be easy enough.
Okay, Christine, any questions?
No, no questions.
Betty?
How do you get your patrons or customers, however you?
The people that come in,
Yes.
most of them were from my class that I used to teach. I used to teach karate.
So they call you, or I guess something like that. How many people do you, I assume this is by appointment, so how many, do you have a class like 2 or 3 or 4 people at one time for the personal fitness?
Yeah, we run anywhere from, well, I'll teach anyone 1 or 2 people on up to maybe 6.
So 1 to 6, and how many classes a day would you have?
I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday morning from 11 to 11:30, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 to 5:30.
Okay. Do you have employees that help you?
No.
No employees at all. And when do you do the massage? Is that,
Yeah, that's by appointment. I may have 1 or 2 a day, maybe.
and you don't have any evening or anything like that?
Evening, well, from 5 to 5:30.
Yeah, but
Sometimes
I
I may
was
have a
thinking, like-
massage afterwards that might run till 6:30.
Okay. All right, I have no more questions.
I have no questions.
Okay, Art, go ahead.
No questions.
Okay. All right, there were a number of questions came up as I was reviewing this and answered one of them. The area in which you do both the training and the massage is what used to be the garage?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and it's about 500 square feet?
Right. Yes.
Okay, and someplace here I had the size of the overall house, but
Approximately 3,000 square feet.
right. So
We're
you're
about
clearly
18%.
within the limit.
Yeah, 18%.
There's a maximum size that it can be, and you're well under that, so no problem there. I think you should be aware that the code on home occupations says that there can be no more than 5 clients at a given time.
Okay.
So you'll just have to
Yeah. I'll
be
split-
be
yeah, I can
be
split
aware
that
of that.
up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's see, you have no employees, and so there are no deliveries or trucks that drop off supplies or anything like that?
No.
No, so it's your clients driving their cars?
Yeah. They come in, they work out, 20 minutes later, they're gone.
Okay, okay. All right, the only other question that came up is, again, where your clients are parking, which is essentially in your front yard. And that's not allowed under the current code. It's a little bit complicated in your case because basically you don't have a garage anymore.
Right.
Yep.
So there's some question about where any cars would be parked.
The business was established, I don't know, mid to late 90s, so they've been kind of parking there in that little, have you been to the site at all?
Yes.
You kind of have that paved area, and then to the right, there's a
kind of a
stone
gravel
gravel area.
pad, yeah.
For about 3 cars there, so.
Right.
Again, it's been there for quite some time, and
I can't
now
grow
we're
any
trying to
grass.
legalize it. Yeah.
Pardon?
I can't grow any grass there, so, put stone.
Right. Okay, but I simply raised this as what might be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, let me see, I think that's the questions I had. Larry?
No questions.
Phyllis?
I have just a couple. You established the business when, please?
Well, it wasn't even a business. It was people getting together to work out.
Okay.
And it kind of, a couple of people wanted to come in, so that weren't in my class.
Okay.
It wasn't, I don't know about established, because people come and go. It was back in the 90s, I guess.
Okay. And then what brought you to us at this point? How is it now that you're looking for the variance?
Huh? Oh, yeah, there was a complaint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regarding,
I guess parking.
okay. And the traffic, there's no, I mean, I did a site visit. You're kind of on a cul-de-sac.
On cul-de-sac, that's correct.
So people can't go through, but you've got several visitors at a time, correct? How many cars is the most you will have?
Besides the family cars,
Correct.
maybe another 4.
Okay, and they all come kind of at once because
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah, and they all leave at the same time.
Okay. Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Carmen?
No questions.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 6 Debbie Court? Okay, yes, sir. Okay, if you would each state your name and be sworn in, please.
Andrew Ryder.
Kathy Ryder?
Mr. and Mrs. Ryder, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Understood. So the concern we have, not with the business, have no problem with the business. He's a very good neighbor. He's been fine. The only concern we have is an issue with parking. We do have, we're to the right. As you're coming up the cul-de-sac, we're on the right-hand side, and he's at the end. The only concern is that the parking, our driveway actually sort of mates right up next to his driveway. And the parking oftentimes is out in front of his mailbox, and it makes it very tough for us to get out of our driveway. The other concern is that sometimes there's parking along the front of our property line where there's a fire hydrant, and oftentimes the fire hydrant's blocked.
Okay, so that if there could be some other way for the cars to be parked.
Yes.
Well,
And
if I can just say, I think at one point it was obvious that parking was a little bit of an issue, and the gravel area was established off to the side much later on. I don't know exactly when, but that has additionally created some flooding issues, which previously were not quite so severe.
yes,
So-
flooding into our driveway.
Because of the runoff
from
pitch of the area.
that area.
So-
From the kind of the gravel?
Right, from
Yes,
that
okay.
area.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anyone on the board have any questions for the writers?
I guess, I'll ask you this question. How many cars do you think can comfortably fit in the applicant's driveway?
Oh, I don't know.
I guess if you don't want to let anybody out, 2 or 3 up towards the front of the house with 2
to the side or vice versa. So
Well, where the
maybe-
gravel is.
Maybe
Yeah.
5, the way you would fan them out so that the next person could get out. Often there's other cars, parked behind, but he has family cars too that need to be there, understandably.
Right.
So what happens is when the driveway area fills up, they park, like you said, kind of perpendicular to his home, and because our driveways are like this, that then means when I come out here, I have to go around these vehicles. More of a hassle than anything. There's space to get out, but it is a bit congested at times, and it's not all day, and it's not every day. We're not saying that. But again, I think that in order to alleviate some of the parking issues, this gravel area was established, and it has truly added to drainage problems for us. The fire department came out 2 years ago when there was a lot of heavy rains, which, everybody will get more flooding to their yard during that time. And it was just streaming down that area. And we are the low point, when you look at the survey, on the circle. So naturally, there's going to be runoff that way, but that gravel area then seemed to facilitate a little bit more runoff, and it just comes right down the driveway towards the house and, floods the garage. That probably happens once or twice a year. But that is really due to severe storms, which we've all seen, unfortunately are becoming a little bit more than normal.
Okay, any other questions?
I do. Are you okay with the business? It's just the parking?
Right. It's, our children are older now. So in the 90s, when they were young, we just didn't allow them to ride their bike in the street or whatever, but they're 20 and 23 now. So as a homeowner, do I care about the comings and goings? That's not the issue. It really has to do with, the congestion all at once and then the drainage issue that's occurred because of it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much. Your comments are part of the record. Let's see. Is there any? Yeah.
Not often.
Okay.
So I'd just like to speak a little bit regarding the gravel drive there. There are, if you did go out to the site, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
There's a little CMU kind of wall in that area towards the driveway, the adjacent neighbor's driveway. And that gravel, you really don't get sheet flow runoff from gravel. The water percolates. They are in a lower area. I'm not quite sure that adds to the, the flooding of the adjacent parcel. I have to disagree with that statement. And I also, if you look at the plan that we prepared, you can see that I believe there's plenty of room if they park in front of Mr. Rosario's mailbox, which does occur. Not to say it doesn't occur. There's plenty of room to get in and out of that driveway. So if you're back out for another site visit, just take a good look at that and try to take that into consideration, see how that works. Because we were told, we also called to Sergeant, I have his name, we talked to the sergeant to see if there's any parking restrictions on that cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that we're okay with, he said there's nothing with the exception of during the winter months, there's a certain time when you can't park out there.
Right.
So, again, we ultimately want to rectify this and have everybody happy, so let's kind of come to some sort of understanding. I'm sure we're willing to work with them and figure this out.
Well,
amicably.
Yeah. So let me just ask I think kind of the obvious question. Are there other places where people could park?
Yeah.
I mean, you have a large property.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and would it be possible to have some of your clients park more to the back? of the house?
Where the dog pen is.
Yeah, I can add at least 1 or 2 cars here, but I'm usually parked like right in front of the garage, what used to be the garage, and they can even park directly behind me, and there's plenty of room for the other cars to get out, because I can't go anywhere. So they can definitely block me in.
Right.
So
We can talk another 3 cars probably, yeah.
So you're not necessarily opposed to extending additional parking along the side of that house, kind of, right? When you walk up to the right, is that something that's?
What's going through my mind here is that I think at some point the zoning administrator is going to have to look at this and make a determination.
Sure.
Is the parking, does that meet the code, or is this front yard parking, in which case you either have to find somewhere else or get a variance for that?
Yeah, because.
And so I'm just, thinking of what alternatives might be.
From a code perspective, when you're talking zoning perspective, if you look at the parking requirements, the closest thing we found was this club, health and fitness club, right? I mean, they really don't address home occupation, so we're over what's.
Oh, no,
You're talking different.
No, it's where it is on the lot. And what the issue, I think, is the notion of parking in the front yard, which is why I asked, is there a place, to the side of the house or
Yeah, there would be the side of the house.
some other location. And I honestly don't know, but the exception to front yard parking has to do with if there's a driveway that goes from the street to a garage, you can park in front of the garage. You don't have a garage. So what's the interpretation here? I don't pretend to know.
Okay, we have to figure that out.
Unless our counsel has an answer.
With respect to,
The front yard parking.
I mean, that's really a question for Sarah. I mean, have they, I don't know if they've been cited for the parking issue or not. What I'm sitting here looking at right now, which is part of why I wasn't fully aware what your question was, is the staff review doesn't cover staff review covers the specific requirements for home occupations.
Right.
It doesn't cover the specific requirements for special use permits. And one of those, so if you look at the U-Haul staff review instead, that's got that whole other list of questions that we need answered, which includes the parking question. And I know that generally in this type of home occupation and this type of with special use permits for home occupations, we've never really gone to the planning board for site plan approval. But it does. But a lot of special use permits are potentially covered by site plan approval. That's what I was just reading. But I mean, if we look at the two issues that are in the specific requirements for special use permits are discharge of water, so no polluting or objectionable waste. Well, that's a non-issue. That's dirty water. But the traffic access should be adequate, but not excessive, and parking. Talks about off-street, which is not what you do with the home occupation. So, and you're allowed to waive any of those. So, but I think whether the parking is legal, I mean, that's a question for Sarah, whether it's an issue of parking in the front yard, whether the spaces are legal. I probably would assume Sarah would have looked at it before it got here, but not necessarily if the question hadn't come up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that you don't want to grant a special use permit that's going to allow somebody parking that's not legal. So that's, if you're considering adjourning it, I mean, that's a question to go out to Sarah to ask her.
Yeah, because
Sarah's the zoning administrator.
if it,
He got an order to remedy just for home occupation.
just for home occupation. Okay.
Say that again?
He received an order to remedy for the home occupation.
But not for them. So so I guess that's, I mean, we've been dealing with this front yard parking thing a lot lately, all of a sudden.
Well, I mean,
and it may or may not be legal parking, given that it's off the drive. I don't know. I just don't know enough about them.
It's a non-issue unless he has the permit, right? Because
No, it's potentially a problem if he's just using it for his family. Nowadays families have so many cars. It could still be a problem, which isn't necessarily addressed by you guys. It's addressed by whether the zoning administrator wants to look at it. But I think certainly if you're considering granting a permit and you have concerns as to whether that parking, and that's the very concern that the neighbors have expressed, then I think it's a question for Sarah to at least look at to tell you whether it's legal parking in the first place.
I would like to get that cleared up, because I think, judging from the questions and kind of the sense of the board, is that we don't really have any issues with the home occupation. That seems to be fine, meets all of the criteria.
I did forget one question.
Okay.
When we were there for the site visit, I could only see workout machines, etc. Do you have another room where you do the massage? What I really need to know is how much area is dedicated to the home occupation.
Like
square footage.
500, yeah.
Yeah, under 25%.
Yeah, it's not,
And I can provide a plan if you want. That's not a problem. I can send some to Sandy tomorrow.
yeah, I've got a 10 by 8 room.
And Betty, you have to bring all your notes to the next meeting for the vote to fill in the gaps that they filled in today. Because you wrote down the answers to the questions about the hours and operation. That's all things that are going to have to be filled in if you grant it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. So I think my sense is that we should adjourn this and to refer it to Sarah for a determination about the parking. I think once we get the parking thing clarified, the rest of it is pretty straightforward, unless somebody has anything further. So, okay. Right. So I move that item number 11 be adjourned to our August 11th meeting.
Wait a minute.
Second.
Jim, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Wait.
Hold on.
Jim?
We've got people in the audience.
The audience.
Oh.
Then the next person will open the massage bar.
Oh, yes. Okay. If there's further comment, please. And you're still under oath, so we don't have to do that.
Yes.
I don't assume that the board has any jurisdiction over the situation of the drainage that we're having problem with because of the way the driveway is laid out, or how does that all work as far as the legalities of things? As I said, he's doing what he can to kind of remedy the situation. We put up this cinder block area to block the water that was coming over. The gravel was brought up to the cinder block level, which, and I have video of when we had a heavy rain, how it just flows right over the wall. It is an issue. At times. It's not all the time. It's not every time it rains.
Only when
I'm
it's
not trying to
severely
say
heavy
that. But there is enough severe weather that occurs in our area on a semi-regular basis where we get these heavy rains, and this is the flow of things.
Yeah. There is a jurisdictional issue here. I mean, we are not engineers. We don't have engineers on staff.
Right.
It becomes very hard for us to evaluate this kind of situation. Having said all that, I think depending on what we find out from the zoning administrator about the parking situation, this may be something we would have to refer to the planning board, which does have the expertise on
over
this.
that. Okay.
But I think for the moment, let's first figure out what the zoning issues are with parking, and then because this may be moot. I mean, the parking may be put someplace else. in which case, hopefully, the drainage issue goes away. But,
All right.
but we have heard your concern.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, so I believe there's a motion that's been made and seconded to adjourn this to August 11th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals?
Next month.
Okay.
Nobody's allowed to submit a new application for next month.
I just,
I said, no new applications for next month.
Oh.
Planning board will be all, be off next month.
Well,
2 meetings.
it's just one of those months. Item number 12, U-Haul, 2175, 2185 South Road. Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for your patience. Okay.
Good evening, Jason Litchwick from Menuda Architecture. Good evening, Patrick Keefe, U-Haul Company of Lower Hudson Valley.
I lost the second name. What'd you say?
My name is Patrick Keefe.
Oh, Keefe. I didn't even hear that. Mr. Keefe and Mr. Latrick, right?
Litchwick.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Yes.
Okay. So, you understand we're not acting tonight, but we'd like to hear about your project.
Yes, we're looking to take the existing Lazy Boy furniture store on Route 9 and turn it into a self-storage unit. It's an existing 26,400 square foot building. The site is going to remain existing. There's no change to the site. The exterior of the building is basically going to stay the same in color. We're going to add a entry door to the side of it, but there's an existing storefront glass already there. We're just taking it out and putting in a sliding door. There's going to be an awning, a canopy above that. In the rear of the building, we are putting in a 14-foot overhead door for access to the storage boxes. And also, we'll be putting in a new egress door on the back of the building. And other than that, everything else is staying as is.
Okay. Christine?
No questions.
Betty?
You know, when we were down there and we were looking at that building, it certainly seems to be a good fit for that. I'd rather see that than anything sitting there empty for any length of time. I don't have any questions. I don't think at this time. Oh, yes, I do. It is going to be open. I got the idea around the clock. That can't be right, right?
From an operational standpoint, this is just going to be self-storage units and portable self-storage warehousing. A customer does have the ability to obtain 24-hour access. The reason we're installing that sliding door is to have an access panel with a magnetic swipe card. So if a customer chooses to, and there's some stipulations to that as far as who we allow to have this access, but the building does have 24-hour security via alarms and surveillance to keep it protected.
When you say storage, you mean like something like a pod?
The building is going to serve two purposes. We'll have month-to-month self-storage units like lockers, anywhere from a 5x5 to 5x10, 8-foot tall locker. We also have a service that is on-demand storage where you can rent a 5x8x8 shipping container, essentially a small wooden box, where we will ship anywhere you would like, internationally, domestically. We will utilize a portion of the building to house these shipping containers, whether empty or occupied, while they're in transition.
So people don't take those in and out individually, you do that? Or
No,
the
the-
business does that as us?
You simply, we will deliver one, or a customer does have the ability to pick one up themselves. We can put it on a small single-axle trailer for them. Either way, once the box is loaded, it remains at our facility until a shipping company picks it up and brings it to its destination.
And would that be inside or outside?
This is all inside. Yeah.
Everything's
Yeah, we
inside.
don't want to change any. We don't want to house any of the boxes in the exterior. As a matter of fact, they can't. They're made of wood. They're not weather proof.
Okay.
All right.
Done. Signage? What kind of signs are we talking about? I mean, it's not here right now, but.
Yeah, right now, we're
Nothing
just
on the
going
awning.
to.
Nothing on the awning, right?
Patch, no, excuse me?
Nothing's going on the awning, correct?
Just the awning's just going to be a hunter green standing seam metal roof.
Okay. And this facility is separate from the U-Haul facility that's further north on South Road?
Correct.
So there won't be U-Haul trucks stationed there or?
No, we will not have any rental of trucks or trailers out of that facility. In a way, they are kind of working together in that regard, that some of our truck rental customers will most likely be unloading into our facility, but no trucks will be housed at that facility.
Okay. Larry?
No questions.
Phyllis?
So basically, this is going to be like the storage facility that's already on the other side, right? And this is all going to be one story?
Are you referring to extra space? There's a storage.
Yeah, there's a new,
Right.
it's going to be a similar.
It's a competitor of ours, but it's very, very similar operation.
Okay. And it's one story?
That's correct. The design inside the building is what we refer to as SC10, which means it's not going to have multiple levels, but there will be a 10-step staircase. I'm sorry, maybe Jason can handle this question a little bit better.
Basically, where they have the storage units, right above the units on the first floor, there'll be another section of units that is only accessible by a set of stairs. So it's not really a second floor. It's more like a mezzanine level, but it's more square footage, so we can't call it mezzanine. So wherever they have these storage units, right above them will be another second level of storage units.
And when the customers come, they'll drive up with their car, park, and then what, carry or put on a moving dolly or something, and then take it inside to the particular unit?
We provide rolling carts at no extra charge to kind of get from the loading unloading area to their unit.
But vehicles don't go in the building?
Never.
Okay. All right.
And maybe you said this, so I apologize. The size of the units, is it a standard size or are they?
Yes, the unit mix at that facility will be 5x5, 5x10, 10x10, and 10x15. But the most common size room, the most popular room for our customers is between the 5x5 and 5x10 range, which we will have the majority of the building as such.
And so most people will be storing household items
Always.
at the facility.
Our primary customer is a do-it-yourself mover, typically in transition between apartments or house closing, things of that nature.
And so there's some kind of rules about toxic chemicals or paint stored there, that kind of stuff won't happen.
We have explicit rules that you're not allowed to store any hazardous materials, no firearms, or even a motorcycle would need to be drained from any gasoline. We do not want any hazardous materials inside the facility. As a matter of fact, on the contract, it stipulates we can immediately evict for such a violation.
Okay. One last question. I appreciate your
problem.
time. You're not going to change the blueprint of the building at all?
No. Our goal is to, we actually kind of have a sustainability in mind. We do not wish to deconstruct any part of the building, add to any part of the building. It's better for the environment and better for our needs.
So now that you mentioned the environment, will you be putting solar panels on the roof?
No.
Just asking.
Good. The building won't require any additional power. It's going to be just lights for safety and surveillance and whatnot.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay,
Carmen?
no questions.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the U-Haul application on South Road? Seeing none. So I think we'll simply adjourn the public hearing, and with luck, the planning board will have done their thing and can act next week. We won't need another presentation. If you wish to be here, one of you maybe, in case there's a question. But thank you very much for the informative presentation. Okay, I move that item 12, U-Haul, be adjourned to the August 11th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 13, Benoni Theodore, 3 Springside Avenue.
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. I believe all of us have a copy of this.
Yes,
Anyway,
absolutely.
so, okay. Good evening, and again, thank you for your patience.
Thank you for hearing us. We appreciate the time.
Okay, and your name?
My name is Christian Paggi with Lawrence J. Paggi, PEPC, on behalf of the applicant, Ben Theodore.
Mr. Paggi, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Understood.
Okay, so tell us about your proposal.
Okay, the subject property is located at 3 Springside Avenue in the town. It's in the ATC district. Currently, the lot is around 12,700 square feet, plus or minus, and houses a two-family, two-story residence. The applicant is seeking approval from the planning board for a subdivision and site plan to subdivide the lot into 2 almost equal sized lots around 6,300 square feet for the addition of a new two-family, two-story residence on the newly created lot. This type of subdivision meets all of the bulk requirements of the ATC district. However, subsequent to the bulk regs in the town code, there's a density requirement associated with residential uses of no greater than 6 dwelling units per acre, as well as subsequent to that, there is a side yard setback requirement of 10 feet as opposed to the 0 feet allowed for primary uses. There's a 10-foot for accessory uses under the town code. So the applicant is seeking a variance for the two lots. It's an area variance to allow for the two-family houses on each lot, as well as that side yard setback for a, there's currently, well, with the creation of a new property line, there will be a 2-foot setback to an existing garage on the first lot. At this time, I would like to draw your attention to, if you would, with our submission, there was 11 by 17 graphics that we submitted, kind of illustrating the use around exactly that sheet 1 of that. There's sheet A and sheet B, and sheet A is a graphic of parcel access. Correct. Yep, right there. Perfect. And sheet B is just is some photographs, and we'll discuss those as well. So the existing uses surrounding the subject property, we try to highlight those for you in this first graphic on sheet A. Basically what this shows is existing uses and densities of adjacent and surrounding parcels to the subject property. As you can see, 1 through 5 that are called out are single-family uses that are under the 7,200 plus or minus required square footage with that density requirement. So just to recap, because it was kind of confusing as we were going through it, so I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So the area requirement is 5,000 square feet in the ATC district. However, with that density requirement associated with residential uses, that bumps it up to a minimum lot requirement of around 7,260 square feet. And that's what one dwelling unit per 7,200 square feet, basically. So what we're trying to point out here is single, two-family, and also multi-family residences in the nearby area that do not meet that requirement and have lot sizes underneath that density requirement. So 1 through 5 is indicating single-family residences, all under 6,000 square feet, 6,500 square feet. In addition, number 7 is called out directly across the street of the subject property. It's a two-family home on almost identical lot size to what is proposed, and it has been serving that for a while, and this is all can be confirmed on parcel access. There's also a multifamily residence down off Grand Street that's 3,400 square feet. So as you can see, the surrounding area really, as it exists, really already serves up the existing use and density that is proposed. So by granting this type of area variance, the board would be allowing the applicant to develop their property in a manner that's very consistent with the surrounding character of the neighborhood. And also, it's not called out explicitly on this graphic, but there are several residences with detached garages or sheds that are located directly on the property line as well. So that wouldn't be any glaring, it wouldn't be straying really from the character of the surrounding area. And the second graphic is just some photos that the applicant provided before and after shots of the subject property. So when he bought the property, it was in disrepair, and basically he gave the property a facelift. He completely renovated the existing home and the detached garage, and subsequently the value of the property was increased dramatically since then. This is the type of renovation that he would like to do on the newly created lot right next to it. So that was just kind of given just to give you an idea of what the intent is of the proposed. I hope that covers it. I want to keep this brief because I know you guys have been here for a long time, and I'm sure looking forward to leaving. So.
Thank you. Christine?
So the proposed house would be on the other side of the driveway in this photograph? Is that right?
Correct. It would be, as you're looking at the photograph, it would be on the right side of that driveway.
Okay.
You gonna ask or am I gonna ask?
Go ahead.
We were at the wrong spot. We
No,
were at
I
the wrong
don't think
spot.
we were. We
didn't see
this
the
is
house.
what we looked at.
We didn't see the house.
That's the house he's proposing to build.
No, there's a house there already, isn't there?
Correct.
There is one. It's right here.
I don't remember seeing that house. I don't think we were there.
But he's saying it looks like this now.
Yeah, we were there Wednesday.
We saw an empty lot,
An empty lot.
We saw an empty lot. We were at the wrong place.
No.
You were there.
It looks like an empty lot right next to it. You didn't see that yellow house?
No. Where is this in relation? We're lost. We were at the wrong lot. We had 2 empty lots we looked at. We thought we were right. We never saw this house.
Oh.
So, okay.
Never saw this house.
I don't know.
It's a little easier to explain if you take back out the first graphic, the parcel access graphic. So Main Street is along the bottom, runs along the bottom of that.
Was that Main Street, Poughkeepsie?
Yes.
Arlington? Or Poughkeepsie? Okay. Okay.
Where? This, here.
Right there.
And on the bottom right, there's 2 larger commercial parcels, 721853 and 709857. Those 2 larger lots.
Yeah.
I believe one of those is KFC or
No, actually.
They may have been. I believe they may have been behind Wendy's.
Wendy's.
We were across the street. We were on the other side of the arterial.
Oh, okay.
So we were in the wrong spot.
Okay.
Oh.
That's what I said. We did not see this house.
Right.
As easy as that. I was driving. We did not see this house. We're lost.
Okay, well, in that case, it's a good thing we're gonna be doing this again next
No.
time.
Back to what we were saying, where are we?
So this is on the south side of the arterial.
Yep.
And are you familiar with?
Well, here.
Come on up and show him
If you go way to the left,
That's the car wash, Sandy says?
Okay.
Go show him exactly.
way to the left on Main Street, that's McDonald's.
Okay, so we're Main Street.
Okay, that's McDonald's.
So this is McDonald's?
I was there.
The car wash.
This is Taco
When the
Bell.
Saints,
That's-
you know, it says there, there's no screen
North
there.
Here's
Well, you know, who approved it?
To rent it out.
It's North Cranberry.
You have someplace to live, but always.
Yeah.
and then you'd make it phone.
This would just
And then
make
this is
What is it?
This is North Grand?
I don't have the money.
Be a bakery here.
Just pay the town taxes.
This is the old Capitol Bakery?
Yes.
Okay, I know where we are now.
Oh,
This
So
brings
you're
out here.
behind,
okay.
Yes, because it's over.
Okay,
it's
I
over-
actually, I think I know what the problem is.
This way.
Springside Avenue actually goes on both sides of the arterial.
not your fault. We thought we knew where
Sliced
we
in
were.
half by the arterial. Okay,
Thank you.
That's why you guys were on the.
We were in the wrong spot. Stop arguing.
okay, all right. Okay, well, clearly, one of the things that we're gonna have to do is just go back out and look at it.
Yes.
In the meantime.
My dad's got a big expedition, so I can probably fit a couple people if they want a caravan over.
I've got it.
Know where we're going, we'll be a lot
Yeah,
better off.
I've got just a couple of questions. Judging from the site plan that you gave, the footprint of the proposed building would be similar to the existing building?
Correct. The intent is to basically mirror the footprint.
So the two buildings would look pretty much the same?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And I guess one thing I have to say is I was impressed by the look of the building. I remember the older one, and actually, truth be told, there are a couple that are still on that street that need a little help. But the way that's been cleaned up is really nice. And so I just wanted to know what the proposed one. I guess the other question I haven't, forgive me for being a little skeptical, but you know, the real estate market not been real good. Is this commercially viable to build a new two-family home and be able to swing it?
Based on the surrounding area, as opposed to a single-family home or even a commercial building with an apartment above, based on the residences that are nearby, and based on the market currently, it's really a renting market right now. People are renting homes, and so having a two-family style home would be more appealing, especially in this market. And the location where the location of the subject property doesn't really lend itself to having like a commercial, like a mixed-use type of building there.
Right.
So the applicant really believes that having a two-family style with having that option to rent really is more of an appealing circumstance than just a single-family mortgage or something like that.
But somebody's run the numbers and...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Larry, any questions?
No questions.
Phyllis?
Just one question. The building, the house that's currently there, how many, that's a two-family house?
Correct.
And so I'm curious as to why there are 3 electric boxes. There's 3 electric boxes and two gas.
I'm not completely sure. I know there was some history of the existing lot. I think there was a house at one point on the vacant lot a long time ago. I don't know if that precedes.
He's raising his hand.
Absolutely. This is the applicant, Ben Theodore.
Okay.
Betty, do I have to take the oath?
Yes, please.
Mr. Theodore, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Please be advised that you are under oath, and any false statements made by you are subject to perjury pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
Yep. The third meter is the landlord meter for basement to have a sump pump. That's it.
Wow, that's easy.
Thank you very much.
I didn't want to.
They've been here the whole time.
Okay.
That's a lovely thing.
Okay. Oh, fine.
No further questions.
Carmen?
No questions.
Okay. All right, and I don't believe anybody in the audience is to address this. Are there any other questions from the board?
No.
Okay, if not, we will adjourn this till next month. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Never get mad.
And
Vote on it. We didn't vote. Adjournment.
okay, I move that item number 13 be adjourned to August 11th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so we will take this up again next month, and in the meantime, we'll go have another look at it.
Sounds good. Thank you again for hearing us.
Okay. thank
Take
you.
care.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda. I see we've got two people here. And if there's no objection from the board, I would like to take those two out of order. And once we've done that, take a brief recess and then come back and complete our deliberation.
Love.
Okay. All right. So going back to the top of the agenda, let's see. Which Martin? Okay. So item number 6. All right. This is Brian Martin, 70 Alder Drive. A variance to allow a proposed accessory structure, a shed, to be located 3 feet.
Oh, Jim, you're trying to do Mr.
He's after Mr. Martin.
But that's not Mr. Martin.
That's not Mr.
But we've got Briarwood.
That's not Mr.
and
Martin.
Who are you?
Monroe.
Wait. Langevin and Mac, okay, so 7.
Oh, he's
It's-
the one with the little girl that needs a bedroom.
Yeah, he's cool.
Right, okay. All right, so item number 7, Jason and Monica Langevin, 9 Monroe Drive, requesting a variance to allow a pool deck to be located 3 feet from the side lot line and 4 feet from the rear lot line, where 15 is required for both. This is a type 2 action, so there's no further environmental review required. You have a staff report in your packet that in its findings suggests that recommends that the variance for the side lot line is fine, but has questions about whether the rear lot, the deck is too close to the rear lot line. Okay, questions, comments?
I think the rear variance is huge. When you have 30 feet and you're gonna leave 4, that's really big. But I'm not sure where else he could put it. Because he
Well-
talked about leach fields, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Pool and the deck.
you know, to me, the only issue here is how far it extends in the back. I think in terms of where it's located, the deck has to be where it is. I mean, the pool is there because of the leach field. I think that's over. So I guess, you know, is there a consensus here about whether extending the deck that far back is appropriate?
Isn't the back of the yard a fence?
Yes.
The whole yard is fenced.
So there's really, it's fence.
Yes.
And the 4 feet will be like dead zone, kind of? You can like maybe get a lawnmower?
I suppose.
Okay. I mean, and then there's a fence,
The whole yard is
the whole
fenced.
thing is fenced.
The
Right.
entire yard is fenced.
Yes, yes. So in that sense, the existing fence screens,
Anything.
right. So, the question is, is this a problem for somebody?
No, there's nobody here.
Evidently not, because they didn't come in.
Yeah. And I do take the concern seriously about needing place for adults to sit when kids are in the pool. I've had that duty with my grandkids and, yeah, so I think there's a reason there's a benefit for it. So, I'm gathering that the consensus is that this is okay.
Yeah.
And it's not the first we've ever done. It's close, but we've done some that are closer.
You do that. Okay, in that case, what we're going to need to do is to modify the finding statement. So let me try to do that in the process of making the motion, and people correct me and catch me if I lapse. I move that the board approve the request for a variance set forth in item number 7. This decision is based on a review of the application, the testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, the result of site visits by board members, and the staff report. In approving this variance, the board adopts its findings, the determinations found in items 1 through 5 of the staff report with the following modifications. Section number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced. In the second half of that, basically that can be deleted and instead insert, the board finds that the extension of the deck to within 4 feet of the rear lot line will not produce any change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, largely by reason of the fact that the entire yard, including the back, is fenced. The findings number 2 can stand as they are. Finding 3 can stand as it is. Item number 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions. The board finds, again, by reason of the fencing, that the variance for the rear lot line will not have any adverse impact on the neighborhood. And finding number 5 can stand as written. So move.
Second.
Okay, any discussions, comments, corrections? Okay, not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Okay, the variance is approved 7-0. Okay, item number 8, Michael and Lisa Macklin, 22 Briarwood Drive. This is a variance to allow a new second-story dormer to be located 12.64 feet from the north side lot line. 20 feet is required. This is type 2 action, and in your packet you'll find a staff report that recommends that this variance be approved. To me, this is a no-brainer, but if somebody's got a problem, they better speak now. Okay. All right, Christine, do you want to make the motion on this one?
Sure. This is number 8, right? Okay. I move that the board approve the request for a variance set forth in item number 8. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, the results of site visits by board members, and the staff report. In approving this variance, the board adopts as findings the determinations found in items 1 through 5 of the staff report.
Second.
Is that correct?
Second.
Okay, motion to approve the variance at 22 Briarwood Drive has been made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? The variance is approved.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not even going to ask, I'm just going to declare a short recess.
Why that, Jim?
Why? It's, Order.
Here.
The microphone is now on.
Yes, it is.
We resume the deliberations.
Yep.
First two items have both been adjourned. Item number 3, Cinema 8, 1895 South Road, seeking a variance to permit a wall sign of 27.2 square feet, which is not facing a public road.
I think
This is an unlisted action,
not on all of
but the applicant has submitted a environmental assessment short form. You have that? Okay. So I move that for the purposes of environmental review of item number 3, the zoning board declare itself lead agent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I further move that based on the EAF short form submitted by the applicant, that the zoning board finds that the action proposed in item number 3 will have no significant impact on the environment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Okay. On the application itself, there's a staff report suggesting that this be approved. Is there anyone that has any problems with this or objections? I think it's actually needed. It was hard to figure out where the theater was. Okay. Betty, you want to make the motion on this one?
I move that the board approve the request for area variance set forth in item number 3. This decision is based upon the review of the application, the testimony by the applicant, the results of site visits by board members, and the staff report. In approving this variance, I ask that the board adopt as findings the determinations as found in the staff report C 1 through 5.
Second.
Okay, so the motion been made and seconded to approve item number 3. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Approved 7-0. Item number 4, Charles and Christine Agro, 925 Dutchess Turnpike. A request for a variance to allow a home addition to be located 11 feet, 11 inches from the side lot line where 20 feet is required. It's a type 2 action, and in your packet, there's a staff report recommending that this be approved. Discussion?
Nope.
Comments? Nope. I was lucky enough to be there when the owner was there and got a little tour. It's really amazing house. I guess built in 1843 or something.
Yeah, we talked to him as
I
well.
think just a picture of it on the back wall. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think they're doing a fantastic job with this. So, Art, you want to make the motion?
Sure. I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item 4. This decision is based on a review of the application, the testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, the results of site visits by board members, and the staff report. In approving this variance, the board adopts as findings the determinations found in items 1 through 5 of the staff report. No conditions, correct? Other than we request to be painted the same color as the house.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think.
Which should be a no-brainer on that property.
I think. Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so motion to approve item number 5 is made and seconded, or item number 4, excuse me. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Approved 7-0. Okay, item 5 has been adjourned. Item number 6, Brian Martin, 70 Alda Drive, a request for a variance to allow a proposed shed to be located 3 feet from the rear lot line and 3 feet from the side lot line where 10 feet is required. It's a type 2 action, so there's no environmental decision that has to be made. There's a staff report recommending that the request be granted. Any questions, discussion? I think, again, this is pretty straightforward. Have minimum impact on neighbors. Okay, Larry, you want to make the motion on that one? Yeah, here's the template.
Which one are we doing, 4?
6.
6.
I move that the board approve the request for a variance set forth in item number 6. This decision is based on a review of the application, the testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, the result of site visits by board members, and the staff report. In approving this variance, the board adopts its findings and determinations found in items 1 through 5 of the staff report.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve item number 6 has been made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Item 6 is approved, 7-0. We have already approved items 7 and 8. This brings us to item 9.
There's some
David Seaman, 124 North Grand Avenue.
for a couple of years.
Okay, and I want to be careful how I do this. And without objection, we'll do both variances at the same time. The first variance is to allow an existing swimming pool to be located 14 feet 6 inches from the north side and 11 feet 6 inches from the south side lot lines, where 15 feet is required for both. And 2, a variance to allow an existing porch to be located 8 feet 6 inches from the south side lot line and 19 feet from the north side lot line, where 20 feet is required for both. Type 2 action, and I believe there's a staff report, yes, recommending that the variance is granted. Any questions, comments? If not, Phyllis, do you want to do the honors?
Yeah. And because you read it corrected, I can just read it.
Yes.
Okay. I move that the board approve the request for a variance set forth in item number 9. This decision is based on a review of the application, the testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and the results of site visits by board members in the staff report. In approving this variance, the board adopts as findings the determination found in items 1 through 5 of the staff report.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve item number 9 has been made and seconded. There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Item 9 is approved 7-0. All of the other items have been adjourned. And I must say, we've set some kind of record for adjourning items.
As I said, the planning board takes August off.
And, you know,
Their work
We
too.
need 2 meetings next month, probably.
I'm not sure whether I'm proud of that or not, although I must say that I think in each case, it was the right thing to do to.
Make the little girl and an expectant family happy tonight, at least.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Yeah, we got some important things. There's one further item, and that's the town planning board is requesting reaffirmation of lead agency status on the Springside neighborhood development, Springside Avenue and Van Wagner Road. I believe this is the Tinkleman project, Brian?
I think so, right?
Yeah, okay. And it looks like this is simply, extending the time on this, as I understand. Okay, so I move that the town ZBA agrees with the reaffirmation of the town planning board as lead agent for the Springside neighborhood development.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Here. Opposed.
You're opposed.
I'm opposed.
Okay. All right, so it's approved 6-1. Okay. Okay, that brings us to the end of the agenda. If there's no other business before us, at 10 after 10, is there a motion for us to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Is that enough?